Oh, where'd the music go? Jamming. Ah. I guess we'll bring Lindsay on. We're just trying to jam the music for the stream, and then that it ends. It's sad.
Oh wait, not that Lindsay guy. Screw that guy.
Oh no! Oh no!
I can't have Lindsay on the show.
Well, I forgot to do a custom wallpaper. Is there a Star Trek one I have stored on here? What is that? Is that the D? Nah. I do something better than that. Do all the captains?
I mean, Picard will be on there.
So yeah, Picard will be on there. They're not wrong. Yeah. So I decided to torture us with my selection this week by picking Star Trek Picard and doing a post-mortem on it and figuring out the big question: is this the worst Star Trek series ever?
Looking at the wallpaper, and I've realized that Cisco is in the middle, front and center, as he should be.
Yeah, as he should be. Yes.
Who is that on the far left, by the way? Is that Kirk? It doesn't look like Kirk. By next to Picard.
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think that is Kirk. I know initially though. I also
it looks like
who is that guy?
It looks like Kirk from the first movie. Can we see him better?
Oh, okay, yeah, there it is. Okay. Now I can see it. I guess I just need that jawline in order to see the Shatner.
Yeah. I don't know, but good. That's like the worst position to get him.
I mean, that gave us plenty of Bakula though, and I'm always down for some Bakula. Though.
Oh yeah, no, we're good for Bakula. Yeah. But yes, hold on. Let me get a proper wallpaper. But yes, so for this special, I decided to make us kind of go over Star Trek Picard. I guess while I get this ready, Ashleen, you are the one that has never seen this before.
Yeah.
Give your kind of your impressions going in.
So we're talking about Q, right? So that's mostly like season 2.
Well, no, we're talking about diving into Star Trek Picard.
Oh, Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard. Star Trek Picard is a really special TV show.
Yeah.
In many different ways. I mean, my favorite scene was when Soong ran over that 90-year-old.
Well,
I don't remember what his name is.
We'll get right into that because you know what? I have that scene right here completely unedited.
Oh, you
do? Hell yeah.
Yes.
I want you to remove an obstacle, Renee. Picard.
Beep beep.
I don't suppose you want to catch a ride to Europa. Feel like you could hang in the cockpit, keep everyone calm.
Perhaps another time.
Beep beep.
Has the scene completely unedited, guys.
They made some choices when putting that scene together. Let me tell you.
Yeah, no.
It took me so off guard when I first saw it.
I mean, it was an interesting choice. I mean, I think the callback to God's Not Dead was probably the most interesting choice. But you know what? You do what you do.
That's what that shot was. It's like, I know I've seen this shot before.
Oh yeah,
no, it's that face.
Here we go. Yeah, no, it is. That is Kevin Sorbo doing his classic. There we go.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Kevin
that's
Sorbo doing his
perfect.
classic. I just got hit by a car, so I'm gonna fly through the air and go, what? Because that's what you do when you get hit by a car, right?
Well, I mean, you're trying to climb back up into the sky.
Yes,
so you don't
climb
fall
through
back
the
down.
air.
Yeah.
You don't want to hit the ground. Who thought there'd be a God's Not Dead reference? But yes, Ashley, you were going over your thoughts on Star Trek Picard.
It's very beautiful. I like that. As they show all of Soong's relatives, they all look exactly the same.
It does feel a bit excessive, really. Here,
it makes you wonder how the gene pool is like that similar.
Well,
that one looks the same.
I mean, you do like obviously you have Data and Lauren, they look the same, and that makes sense. And then you have when you meet Soong, it's like, oh, okay, so he modeled after a younger version of himself. That makes sense. And then you do Enterprise, and that's where it starts getting a little wonky, where you get younger Soong, and it's Brent Spiner again. And it's like, okay, I'll go with this. It happens, and then Picard just starts grabbing Soongs from across the generations, and they're all fucking Brent Spiner. It's like, okay, now I get we're just letting Brent Spiner have roles here, but it feels bit much. I'm a little concerned for the Soong bloodline. Maybe androids was their only future.
Couldn't we have, like, at the very least, like, put him in, like, weird makeup or something? Like, I don't know, vary it up a little bit.
No.
Give him like a big nose or something like that. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. Just like really big-eared, random Brett Spiner in one episode. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
And it's also really weird because, Soji keeps coming back too.
Well, in season 1 and 2,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna talk about too, and that's weird as well, in my humble opinion. It's been so many years. It's like, what, did they base it after like that one lady from like a couple hundred years ago? And like, why would they do that though?
Yeah, well, I mean, we see Soji and Dodge in season 1. Obviously, that's where they're introduced, and then they come up with the excuse that like Soong made like a daughter, and it looks exactly like them in the past. And it's and they don't have a good excuse why Soji and Dodge, whichever one survived, was not in season 2. Just they weren't there anymore.
Do all the men and women in the Soong family just look the same? Is this what I'm supposed to get out of this?
Yes, it's a very genetically undiverse family.
I was about to say, does this count as incest if you're just cloning and making robots of yourself? Like,
it's a bit weird.
It's like non-committal incest. Like, come on, either do it or don't do it. For the record, I'm not condoning incest, but if you're gonna do it, do it.
Hello, Mikael.
What's up, dude?
Oh my god!
I know that was what I was thinking too. I was like, this gene pool is questionable.
Well, let's dive in, because obviously Star Trek Picard was done as a series, kind of a fan servicey series. But like when Patrick Stewart came back, he made a big deal about him not wanting to do like a season 8 Next Generation. He wanted this to be a unique series with its a unique taste, unique flavor, and
I mean,
honestly, I see what they're going for season 1, because that's also something else Patrick Stewart wanted. He wanted it to be very explicitly like political, like explore some political topics, which is what they did a bit with the Romulan stuff in season 1, which, to its credit, I thought that stuff had potential, and it doesn't really do it. But
I mean, I will tell you, I did think this series did have some unique flavor. I just didn't like it at all. It wasn't good.
I don't. You see, I won't be quite that scathing to it, because I won't say I won't like it at all. But like, it's definitely got bad. I guess Lindsay, I haven't heard.
No. You're good, buddy. It's like peaks and valleys, but like way more valleys than peaks. Like the peaks that are there are cool. Like I still kind of like that first opening scene with Picard and Data, even though neither of them are in like the very first episode of season 1. Like neither of them are really in character, but it's a dream, so it kind of makes sense that everyone's acting a little weird. Like there's and it's just cool seeing them together again. There's kind of a magic to that just by itself. But then all of season 2 is a horrendous train wreck, and season 3 starts so well, and then just shits the bed so hard.
Yeah, no, I like. We'll work through it, but like season 3, I want to stress it is, in my opinion, without doubt, the best season of the show. But like the concepts and what begins with are so strong, and then the last 2 episodes are just like, it's like. And then it ends all right, but ends kind of the same way All Good Things does 30 years earlier. But I digress.
I noticed actually when you were, I guess for context to the viewers, he's looking at on his other monitor, he has the IMDb page on there, and I noticed that the top 2 highest rated episodes were the ones that fizzled out at the end.
Oh, it's season. The last 2 episodes of season 3 are the highest rated episodes, 9.4 and 9.3. Wow.
How?
I guess we're in the minority on this one, because I thought that those were the episodes where the season kind of just went, no, we'll get to it.
We kind of are. Okay. I did like a kind of looking around at other people's thoughts on the show just to see if I could mine anything interesting. And Red Letter Media kind of really likes season 3.
One surprised me. There was lots of really good reviews of season 3. Lots of people calling it the only good season of new Star Trek, which I disagree with, but
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. Wait, when does New Trek start? Is there an official
Discovery? Discovery
Okay.
season 1. Everything after Discovery season 1's New Trek. Which I mean, I'd probably put both seasons, or probably all seasons of Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks over Picard season 3.
That's fair.
Not to say those don't have missteps, but
right. I do need to finish Strange New Worlds. I started it. It was dope. I need to go back and finish it.
Yeah, Strange New Worlds is just awesome. I love, like, Strange New Worlds remind me how much I love Star Trek, where just episodic adventures. Just every episode's just a little adventure. You know, there might be a broader story over the season, but like, you know, every episode stands on its own. You can jump in between if you want.
And that's one of the big issues with Picard. It is not episodic at all. It is
not
3
remotely
8-hour-long movies, and none of them are particularly strong. I'm not saying like each episode needed to be like its own thing. I mean, I guess you could have very easily just been like, I'm Jean-Luc Picard, and I'm here to christen this new vessel as it's on its first maiden voyage. Oh no, we're being pulled through a black hole. Oh no, this entire series is set in the, I don't know, the Epsilon quadrant or something like that. And we must find our way back. And Picard just happens to be on that ship. That could have been kind of cool.
Yeah. Maybe a little Voyager-ish, but
very, very Voyager.
It'd be fun. Call her up, though. Get like a little cameo.
Yeah. So I guess, Lindsay, your broad thoughts on Star Trek Picard overall.
It is... I legitimately think it's the worst thing to ever really bear the name Star Trek. It's just, and we'll get into a lot of different reasons. Some of them are like just terrible writing choices, from like things like conspiracy theories to when you're referencing things to like the best, to like in Star Trek, you're referencing literally the worst episode of the original series. Like, why are you referencing Gary freaking 7? But then there's also, and we don't really need to get into this too much because it gets deep endy really quickly, but like season 1 of Picard is almost whole hog stolen from like a game series called Mass Effect. And like, once you start seeing it, you can't stop seeing it.
I never finished playing Mass Effect, but I've heard that said a lot.
It is impressive. Here, actually, I got a couple just quick visuals. If I send you something, can you like put it up on the screen?
Well, you can actually, if you hit present and you can share screen or video file. I'll have to put it up, but if you put it in there, that's the easiest way for me to share it.
No, here, let's play. Okay, I'm learning how to do this. We were talking about that earlier. Okay, so share screen. Wait, allow. Lester and Picard. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So allow. So this is what so you guys can see this, right?
Now we can. Mm.
Okay, cool. So this is what the main ship from Star Trek Picard looks like. The La Sirena. For the record,
ship, yeah.
I love the ship. Rios is dope. He's got 5 holograms of himself running around running the ship together. That's so cool. I love that. But then you look at this, and it's like, it's not like a 1-to-1, but that looks more like the Normandy than it does anything in Star Trek. Like, am I crazy about that?
Yeah.
No, like, I understand what you're going for. It's got like the outreaching like points and stuff like that. It doesn't really look like a Star Trek ship.
Right. And then again, like, we don't need to get too much into this because but these are just little things that have been in my head for years. I just need to get them out while I have the opportunity.
Yeah, go for it.
Star Trek ships are very rounded, I feel like.
Exactly. And
you
so
see,
here, look at this.
Now I feel disappointed because I thought it was kind of clever how they came up with a ship that doesn't look like a Federation ship at all. Just almost like how a regular ship might look. And learning that's kind of oh.
It could be a coincidence, you know, anything's possible. Yeah. But one last thing. So, you know, this is traditionally what like guns look like in Star Trek, you know, like, you know, goofy, boxy things from the 60s and 70s. And this is kind of what they started looking like in Star Trek Picard, you know, different. And again, it's not an exact 1-to-1. This is what they look like in Mass Effect. It's not.
So what you're saying is there's a writer that definitely played Mass Effect.
Exactly. And that's before we start talking about how like Star Trek Picard season 1 introduces this whole backstory for the entire universe of there are these super godlike robots that every now and again come around and kill every organic thing that lives in order to make sure that robots can keep living. That's right out of Mass Effect. That's copy pasted out of Mass Effect. But that's it. I've said my piece. I feel better. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we're well set up to dive into season 1 because I'm not familiar with the Mass Effect game remotely as much to really be able to compare it. But my impression of Star Trek Picard season 1 is I think there's interesting ideas in it.
Yeah.
Very poorly executed. Very poorly followed through with. Somehow infinitely better followed through with than anything in season 2. We'll get to that when we get to that. But like, you know, there's the whole idea like the Romulans, like I like the idea that we're going back to Star Trek 2009, the movie where Romulus was blown up, and that was the instigator for that whole movie.
Yeah,
I like that idea. And then it's going back to the idea that the Federation, you know, obviously Spock was there to try to help him out, but you know, the Federation largely wasn't helping out, and that's how come Spock was in a Vulcan ship and doing that. So they kind of explained that a little bit. And how, you know, Picard kind of rebelled against the Federation a little bit for how they did that, and, you know, kind of went through a forced retirement. And these are interesting ideas, and I like picking up with Picard on where things are, you know, just Picard's kind of, you know, reluctantly retired and, you know, picking up his life just on a vineyard, missing Data, and getting sucked into this story with Data possibly having children that he never knew about. Very interesting ideas. And then the rest of the season happens, and it's I mean, you know, people often misinterpret the scene, like the scene where he goes to the Admiral and she says, you know, you're just asking for a ship, sheer fucking hubris. And it's like, well, you know, he's got a good reason to investigate, and, you know, she's kind of being a bitch, but like he also is kind of past his prime. He didn't leave the Federation on the best of terms, so there's a to and fro with that scene. But then we also get introduced to Admiral, obviously a fucking Romulan, and they're trying to act like it's a Vulcan. I'm like, okay, this is the most obvious twist ever. We know this, right?
Is that why she's Commodore O? Because the O stands for obviously a Romulan?
Yes, obviously.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't even realize that we were supposed to think that she was a Vulcan. My brain didn't even pick up on that.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh yeah, that's a Romulan, and then I just assumed that everyone knew that.
No, she
I didn't realize that was even a thing.
There aren't Romulans in Starfleet unless something changed since we've last seen it. Yeah, Romulans, you know, and Romulan and Starfleet would be very unusual.
I forgot they had the little separation.
Yeah.
Basically, if you ever see a Romulan in Star Trek, it's a fake.
Yeah, almost always they're the villain, with very few exceptions. I guess in Star Trek's a bit racist against Romulans in that way, but
hey man, look, there's the Vulcans, they're the good guys, they're the good ones, and then there's the Romulans, they're the bad ones. You know, it's like it's just how it goes. Okay.
I just realized I've got to give Ashley credit, and I will. She is not bad faith, so I will erase that.
Yeah, I realized it still says weeb on here from the other day when I was doing a stream about anime, but you know, it's fine.
Nice.
You can leave
it. You're still a weeb even now.
So, something else this introduces is, so Admiral O is part of the Jat Vash, which is it is the Tal Shiar, but even more undercover than the Tal Shiar.
Yeah.
Now, why didn't they just make it the Tal Shiar? Shut up! It's the Jat Vash. No, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, I understand the Tal Shiar were supposed to be crippled after Deep Space Nine, after the whole trying to kill the founders, but I never assumed they were permanently down. So like they could have just made them the Tal Shiar, but you know, so like when they decide to say it's a Jat Vash, something even more uncovered, it's like, okay, what are we gonna do with this? Oh, nothing? No. Okay, cool. Great writing, guys.
Always remember, there's another secret organization underneath the Tal.
Yeah.
Underneath the Jat Vash.
I can't wait to get introduced to Section 32.
And I need to point this out too, just because it annoys me so much. So we got the Jat Vash, a character named Daj, a planet named Vashti. It's like, can you? I know it's an alien language. Maybe the Vja is a very common Romulan sound, but can you differentiate these things a little bit?
So Data has a daughter. Her programs activate when some assassins try to kill her. You know, and that's kind of cool. Okay. Her R.I.P. her boyfriend.
R.I.P.
Yeah, but
Poor guy.
okay. You know, she reaches out to Picard, and Picard goes to help her, and then big action scene ensues, and she dies. Only to find out there's a twin, and Picard has to go find her. Now, one thing I want to give credit to is Patrick Stewart's performance. Throughout episode 1 especially, he's really feeling old and kind of just increpid and not really able to, like, you're like, how is he going to get through this season, much less a series of this? He really seems like really fucking old. Like, I really thought watching it, Patrick Stewart was really fucking old and just wasn't really great. But like, as he gets more into the adventure, you get the sense that, you know, he gets more lively. And I like how he does that. So like, it's not an issue throughout, like, past the beginning of season 1. So credit to Patrick Stewart for conveying that just through physical performance.
Dude's a great actor, man. Like, you can't. It's like a living legend. I don't know if he's playing Picard sometimes in this show, but like, whatever he's doing, he's knocking it out of the park. Like,
wow. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like a lot of the acting in this is very good because we've got a lot of people coming back, especially like, I mean, the new characters are good as well, acting wise. Yeah. But like with a lot of people that are returning, they've like found like these new ways to sort of convey their character in a slightly different way, where it still feels like their character, but you can feel the change and the growth, and that makes sense considering that, you know, it's supposed to be a bit later.
Well, I guess we're kind of segue to it, so we can jump a couple episodes ahead and talk about the big returning character. Which is 7 of 9, obviously.
7 of 9.
One interest, like when you do a legacy show like this, you assume there will be probably at least now regular and from the old cast. Now I was literally expecting like a TNG person like Geordi or someone to take that role. I think 7 of 9 was a really interesting choice, especially since her and Picard kind of have a similar back history with the Borg, not identical, obviously, but you know, they both have it. Not that many characters have that. You know, and they're also two characters. While they're both like classic characters, they don't. You know, they've never really. We've never seen them interact on screen before. So seeing them interact it's cool. And plus, we get to see 7 of 9 30 years later and see that Jeri Ryan. I mean, to objectify her, she's still pretty hot, and she's still a great actress and awesome.
And she kicks a lot of ass this season too, man. Like, put her in like some action movies, man. Like, I'm.
Yes.
I don't think they're. You know, Furiosa sadly did not perform very well, and I'm still angry about it. But you know, do an old woman Furiosa movie with Jeri Ryan. Like, go for it.
Yeah. We need more Jeri Ryan. I mean, she's a great actress.
Yeah.
So. I like that they bring her back. Yeah. We can go ahead and dissect her first episode because that one is fucking interesting. Not the one where she cameos at the end, but like, so it's introduced in episode 5. I want to say that like she is what do they call it? The Rangers.
The Fenris Rangers.
Fenris Rangers. It's introduced. She's part of this group called the Fenris Rangers. It was kind of thought she would join the Federation, or Starfleet. And she didn't. She joined a group called the Fenris Rangers because she was upset with how Starfleet was operating, which is, you know, okay, cool. And that's kind of a 7 of 9 thing. Now, what's the importance of Fenris Rangers throughout the rest of this series?
Crickets.
So anyway, 7 of 9.
Listen. The Fenris Rangers provided Picard with an excuse to dress up and try out his fake French accent.
Oh God, we're gonna get into that. So the episode begins with the death of Icheb, obviously a Voyager character. You know, not my favorite character, but okay, fine. He dies. I'm like, okay, so yeah, pretty horribly. And I'm like, okay, he's dead, and that gives 7 of 9 motivation. And then the rest of this episode, for like the whole middle section, the middle like hour, it's an hour episode, and like the middle half hour at least, turns into this zany comedy thing where they're trying to sneak into this club. They're all like posing as different people. Picard's putting on a fake French accent as opposed to his natural French accent.
As opposed to his natural British accent. Yeah. He's genetic British accent, actually.
Okay, sure. It's a zany, goofy adventure. And then at the end, 7 of 9 just beams down and just kills everyone. It's like, wait, is this like a crazy, dramatic, like revenge thriller, or is this a zany fucking adventure? I feel like this episode needed to choose a tone and like sit with it. Is that too much to ask?
I feel like they were trying to do like the thing in like action movies where they'll have like some jokes sprinkled in, but then like they still have like like the punch.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it correctly.
No, the whole middle section was a joke. That episode is so inconsistent and kind of a good example of Picard season 1 writing. It is inconsistent. I think that's just a good example of Picard writing.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a good example of season 2 as well.
Yeah,
in my humble opinion.
We're gonna be saying that a lot.
Season 2 is consistently bad, but
I guess okay, so we can rewind it a bit because that episode bugs me because it's like, okay, the zany thing sounds like fun. The 7 of 9 revenge story sounds like a good story. Maybe have them be separate episodes. I don't know.
It's also worth pointing out that episode 5 is the first time they're actually like finally out in space doing things halfway through the series.
Yeah.
It's a little odd.
Well, I mean, the first episode, the first couple episodes is mainly just picking up the main cast. And the first, I feel like the first, obviously we get Soji and Dodge. Which one is the one that dies? And which one's the one? Dodge dies?
Yeah.
Dodge dies? Okay.
No, is it the other way around? I thought one of them
Dodge
was
couldn't
Dasha.
dodge.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought one of them was. Oh, that's their last name. Okay, never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah, so that it's Data's children made later by mainly by Bruce Maddox. And I kind of like revisiting Bruce Maddox and how he's kind of reformed from Measure of Man. I actually think that's an interesting idea.
Oh yeah.
And we also get introduced to his much younger girlfriend, Girardi.
Much younger, yeah.
Which really confused me when they introduced that. Like, finding out that they're working together, it's like, okay, cool. And then it's like, oh, yeah, they were a couple.
Are they married, or are they just dating?
I don't know, but yeah. Listen, man, I don't want to judge age differences or anything like that, but oof. Man. He like, it's not like he looked young. It's like, okay. So like we haven't gotten to Rafi yet, but I feel like Rafi's like one of the more hated characters from this series. I will defend her a little bit. I think she's fine. She's not one of my favorites by any means, but I think she's fine.
I mean, I feel like her worst crime, at least to me, was just that I didn't find her particularly interesting.
Yes.
Like, she's deadbeat. Okay, yeah. Can we develop that?
Yeah, I would like that. So for me, the character.
Also, she's just always right. That kind of really bugged me. Like, I wanted at least one conspiracy theory of hers to just be wrong, and they just never were. But anyway, I cut you off. Go ahead, bud.
But yeah, no, I was just gonna say. Now, the character that I just found I despise was Girardi. I did not care for her whatsoever. And Alison Pill's a good actress. I've seen her do plenty of stuff where she's fairly famous. She's been out there.
It's amazing how adorable she makes this despicable character who's impossible to like.
So jumping back to episode 5. So that episode ends with them getting Bruce Maddox because he has the information on the Data's children. And then she just kills him.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't get better when we go into the backstory and we find out she killed him because Admiral not a Romulan told her that she needed to for the good of the Federation or whatever. And it's like, and you just took it on face value that like you need to kill someone you love just for the good of Federation. You're not gonna research that or talk to him about it, or
pseudo mind melds? Didn't she? Like she zapped images into Girardi's head or something like that.
It was weird, yeah.
You could fake that shit, right? Like I don't know, like that doesn't feel like it's enough. No. Although I do like that moment where O's like, chew this, and like hands her like a computer chip. Swallow it. It's like, why is this so nefarious? Like,
it's not great. But yeah, Girardi's part of the crew, and then after that, I think we get introduced to. They need a ship, so they get introduced to Rios. Mm-hmm. And I actually really liked Rios. I thought it was an interesting idea for a character. I think the actor does a great job. And this must have been a fun role to play because he's just on a ship by himself. filled with holograms of himself
that
doing
all
different
have different accents.
all have different accents and just
it's an actor stream.
Yeah, it's like, oh god, that must have been so much fun. And we will get to how Captain Rios is treated, especially with how they decide to resolve his storyline later, where I'm like, but
it was a choice.
Yes. And then I think after that, it introduced Rafi, who is just an old friend of Picard, and she just kind of gets roped in, and we find out she's not the best parent or grandparent, but she's busy saving the galaxy and can't tell anybody.
On the subject of Rafi as well, they really should have actually developed her relationship with 7 of 9.
Oh, yeah.
Like, actually developed it.
Oh, my God.
Because, holy crap, they kept on being like, oh, they're a couple. Oh, little shot of them holding hands at the end of the season. Oh, they were a thing. And it's like, okay, I don't care. I know nothing about this.
Oh, yeah, no. So, like, jumping way to the end, one of the last shots of season 1 is them playing some sort of game and then reaching across the table and holding hands. It's like, oh, well, I haven't seen this develop at all, but I'm interested to see this develop. Let's see what they do with this.
Going to develop this next season?
I mean,
give new, interesting character dynamics?
I mean, that's the type of thing, like, people might do to kind of show interest. Hey, here's my hand. Oh, okay, I'll grab it. Oh, hey, cool. Okay, hey, let's see what happens. Next season begins. They're broken up, and they just kind of bicker and then get back together at the end, but not really. So, I don't know.
And then the season 3, they're just broken up again.
Yeah.
Like, I get that like some time passed, but couldn't you at least, like, even if they're still broken up at that point in time, couldn't they have still tried to develop their relationship a little bit? Because the development was sparse.
Listen, they've been terrible of 7 of 9 relationships throughout all of Star Trek. And I will say, this is at least an upgrade from Chakotay. At least.
oh my goodness, yes.
Also, I do love the idea that Chakotay ruined men for 7 of 9, not because he was so dope, because he was boring. And she's like, I'm never doing this again.
Yeah. Oh, God. This is what being with men is like? I'm out.
And also, like, it makes perfect sense, I think, for 7 of 9 to be bisexual or to be into ladies, because who was, like, her most important relationship on Voyager?
Yeah, Janeway.
Yeah, like, it's kind of makes sense. But, again, like Ashley said.
Weird, but that would have been a way better relationship for her to have than Chakotay.
Oh, yeah. Oh. And talk about the war crimes that, not war crimes, but the crimes brought against Janeway when she gets brought home. War crimes, sleeping with your crew, abusing people for coffee. The really disappointing thing about 7 of 9 and Rafi for me is I what would have all they would have needed was like one scene where like Rafi like said something and then like 7 of 9 like fired something back at her, and so Rafi's like, oh, and 7's like, oh, or some variation of that where like they're just like slightly hostile but playful with each other for a moment. You're like, oh, they're into each other, and then they're holding hands later, and it makes sense. That's all it would have taken.
Yes.
And they couldn't even do that.
And yes, Dermot.
Yeah.
I am subjecting her to Star Trek, including what I agree with Lindsay. Probably has to be the worst series of the bunch. For the longest time, I'd probably say my least favorite series was probably Enterprise, but yeah, it's Picard now.
I mean, Enterprise is close. Those first 2 seasons of Enterprise get close to Picard.
Well, I mean, at least season 3 of Enterprise was all right, even though that went on a little long. And then season 4 of Enterprise is actually great until the last episode, where
check out my YouTube channel. I'm trying to script a video where I talk about the Acolyte and how if in our modern age of streaming, shows like Star Trek never would have lasted because the first season would have come out, people would see Code of Honor and go, nope, no more TNG, killing it, no
exactly.
more. Like,
that's a point I've made a couple of times actually already. It's like okay, so Acolyte season 1 had its issues for sure. Way better than TNG season 1. I mean, if TNG season 1 came out this year, Star Trek franchise is dead. And in fact, I would say, even though like I think Star Trek Picard season 2 is probably my second least favorite season of Star Trek ever. Number 1 is still TNG season 1, which is absolute garbage. Well, okay, there are good episodes in TNG season 1, but the bad ones outnumber them, and the really bad ones are really bad.
Is season 1 the one that ends with then the Romulans saying, "We're back," or is that season 2?
think no, I'm pretty sure it's season 1 because season 2 ends with the flashback episode.
That's right, and a terrible flashback episode of that.
Yeah,
but that's a great that's a great cliffhanger. The Romulans being like, "We're back." I'm so down for that. That's dope.
Well, I mean, I think it was all even kind of clever because that episode, if I remember correctly, it was the Romulans saying, "Kind of, we're back. We're keeping an eye on things because we've seen you scooping stuff up from other planets." But the scooping stuff up we later see is actually Borg. So you know, it's kind of clever in that.
That's very true.
A little faint praise for season 1 TNG, which also includes Code of Honor, the most racist Star Trek episode ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. If like I was just like watching it on streaming and I saw Code of Honor, I probably too would be like, I can miss out on this. I think I'll live.
Yeah.
And what's funny too is I'm just realizing now Picard actually continues the Star Trek curse because the first 2 seasons are bad and season 3 starts getting kind of good. We're never going to get season 4, but you know, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. So like season 1 of Picard is really wonky.
Wonktastic.
I guess before I get into a wrap up of season 1, let's talk about the final big character, Eleanor.
Yes.
Oh
God.
So Eleanor, I like when he's introduced, I actually think this is a cool idea for a character. This Romulan kid that Picard kind of helped raise, but kind of forgot about, and then he goes back and like kind of starts patching things up with him. I think that's an interesting character dynamic. I like the idea of Eleanor kind of, you know, he sees Picard as almost like a father figure, and he's like just this honorable warrior, which is a nice little divergence from what we normally see. You know, usually we just get this sneaky Romulan, and he's just like this super honorable guy, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean,
and he's honest to a fault. He's adorable.
Yeah.
I love it when he's just like, "Did you mean to say that?" or something like that, and it's like kind of awkward because he kind of calls someone out. Like he's got moments where he's like a cute puppy. What is it? Absolute candor. That's Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. And unfortunately, he is the example of the Star Trek character that like you like, but then they do fucking nothing with it.
Nothing. Absolutely.
He is Eleanor is to Picard what Harry Kim is to Voyager, what Travis Mayweather is to Enterprise. That character who, you know, it's like, oh, this seems like a cool character, and then they just don't do shit with him.
Yeah.
Sadly, between those 3, Harry Kim does the best, if you're wondering. If you're familiar with Voyager.
You keep on showing me these Voyager episodes, and I feel like it's always like Harry Kim does like this like astounding feat. He you know, single-handedly makes it possible for them to live another day. He undergoes psychological and even sometimes physical torture, and then just like nothing happens. No one cares.
Yeah.
It's Harry Kim.
Maybe someday I'll show you the episode where Harry Kim literally dies and is simply replaced with an alternate version of himself. And that is the rest of the series.
And no one brings it up again.
Yes. That is an actual thing, Ashleen.
At least O'Brien is the chief engineer.
Yeah, at least O'Brien's never replaced with an alternate reality version of himself. He is the same O'Brien throughout the series.
I mean, he got that one. He got that one time where he was like replaced with an alternate version of himself, but that was.
But then he came back.
The episode ends with the original O'Brien.
Yeah, and that was a. Oh, yeah.
And the thing about Eleanor that really annoys me in season 1 is there's this entire episode 4, I think it is, where they're recruiting him, or episode 3, whichever, it doesn't matter. It's the entire episode is about recruiting him, but then the next episode, he doesn't do anything. The next episode is the heist episode, and he's just there. He doesn't contribute.
Although, I mean, I will say in his defense, he contributes a little bit to the comedy because they're like, okay, we need you to act, and he's like completely ill-prepared for that. It's like, what? You need me to pretend in a dishonest fashion? It's like, yeah. That is kind of funny, but yeah. So anyways, so season 1, I guess.
I mean, it's real. It's not like it goes downhill. You know, it has some good ideas. I don't think it's like complete trash.
Yes. Season 1 of
really particularly fun to watch or anything. It's just kind of, it's fine.
Season 1 of Picard reminds me a lot of Star Trek season 1s. Not as bad as TNG, but like not as good as DS9 either. But like Discovery Season 1 is almost a good example where it's like we got some good ideas. These are some fun stuff to explain, but we don't really know what to do with them, so we're just kind of spit them out and see what sticks type feeling. That's what I get from Season 1. Now the difference being a Discovery Season 2 is where they start going, okay, here's where the pieces should go, and this will work. Whereas Picard Season 2,
oh, it gets so much worse.
are we ready?
Well, can I make one more comment about Season 1?
Yes.
It's so like I could theoretically ignore the Mass Effect stuff. I could theoretically ignore Elnor being pointless, if not adorable. But one thing that every time I watch, and I guess this is the third time I've watched Picard Season 1, it doesn't matter. I hate Soji's love story with whatever his face, the hot Romulan guy is. Every scene of them together.
I forgot about that.
I didn't really like that either.
We can't go to Season 2 yet because we gotta talk about the Borg involvement with Season 1, which is, I guess, better than the other seasons. I will give it that. I do
like the idea of they've got this cube and it's like an archaeology site. That's kind of sick. Like,
it's kind of an interesting idea, and and you have Soji working on there, and then she's got a Romulan boyfriend who
he's a guy.
He's a guy.
Okay,
he is.
I guess maybe he's good looking, but like he's completely sus. He's obviously sus. I don't know what. Yeah, what do you see when you
What was Hughes' line? Oh my God, we almost didn't mention Hughes. Hughes in the show.
Hughes is in the show. Like he was a baby when he did TNG, so he's back doing this, and I love getting him back. All right,
especially when he and Picard met up. That scene always gets me.
That was nice. Yeah,
it's a very cute.
It's like Hugh.
But I do love Hughes' line in regards to Hottie McRomulan. You mean the guy I'm supposed to pretend hasn't been asking about Soji since the moment he got here? So everyone knows that he's been like doing creepy stuff in relation to Soji, and she's still sleeping with him.
Yes.
Like this relationship doesn't work. I'm sorry.
So there's a bit more. We gotta wrap up to the end of Season 1 before we move on to Season 2, because there's actually a lot more, because we got the Borg cube, that stuff, which I guess they kind of do a little bit with 7, but like, the Romulans are there. They're doing the sus Romulan stuff because they're members of the Jat Vash, which is completely different from the Tal Shiar. Completely fucking different, guys.
Completely different.
Not completely replaceable or anything.
And it's also an all-female organization. Oh, sorry.
That was what I was about to say.
That's why it's evil.
I was like, I mean, based, I guess, but why?
Well, what's funny is this season of Picard introduces not one, but 2 all-female secret Romulan organizations, except that they each also have one guy in them.
Elnor and her boyfriend's in the Jat Vash. What's the other organization?
Why didn't he show up for that little meeting they had?
Yeah.
Oh, the other one is the Romulan samurai thing that Elnor is a part of. It's all a bunch of warrior nuns, except for him.
Right, yeah, they were awesome though.
Oh yeah, no, I'm down for warrior nuns. Don't get me wrong. It's just funny. It happened twice.
So the Romulans kill Hugh because they suck. And then they're going to kill all the Borg. Then 7 of 9 tries to save all the Borg, but a lot of them get vacuumed, and like crazy adventures happen. The important thing is pretty much all the characters end up on the android planet set up by Soong's descendant, who looks exactly like him, because Brent Spiner, we want to get him in there. Hey, Brent Spiner seems like a cool guy, so I get it. But
hey, anything that gets Brent Spiner money, I'm down with. Honestly, just give that man money. It's cool.
Really, I too would have liked to to run over Patrick Stewart and God is dead.
But anyways, so they're on this planet, and the Soong's trying to become immortal, so he has this android body that he calls a golem. And meanwhile, we've also been dealing with Picard, who's dying, and he has a fucking aromatic syndrome or something like that. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah.
But he secretly doesn't have your.
Yes. We'll get to that. That gets.
Spoiler.
Oh God. We'll get to that.
Stuff is going to happen.
But yeah, he's dying, so they transfer him to this body, and for the rest of this series, Picard is now an android, except with none of the advantages of being an android in exactly a human body, just an android body.
Cool, good for him, I guess.
That's a thing we're doing now. that ending was just like, what?
Yeah. Can we also talk about that weird, like, what's that like tool that the robots give them that like it fixes the engines, it projects holograms of the ship, it just does whatever they need? Like, what
that's right. There's a whole fleet of Romulans going after that planet. And like they're able to use that random tool to just project 1 million of the Rios' ships to delay them until the Titan can show up and kick ass. And it's like, by the way, it's nice seeing Deanna Troi and Will Riker back, even though it's only
100%.
Yeah. Little cameos, which I expected.
Don't worry, they get bigger cameos.
Especially Riker, yes. But yeah, that's pretty much season 1. Is it like the worst season ever? No, it's rough. It's like a lot of Star Trek season 1s where it's rough, but you know what? I watch it and it's like this is rough, but I think it has potential. You know, just let's expand. Anything else you guys want to add for season 1 before we get into the expanding?
I'm so excited to talk about hit and runs, you guys. You guys don't even understand.
We've already seen it, Ashley.
I think. Well, I assume none of us particularly like season 2 a whole lot, but I think that talking about it is probably going to be the most fun because now we can destroy it together as a group.
Hold on, I want to pull up this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes in a review I've ever seen ever. Where I had it written down somewhere. Where was it? Okay, wait. I vamped for a second while I pull this quote up. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. We will get this. Because season 2 is amazing.
It's very unique.
We can get that 4 queen design. We get into season 3.
Yeah, it's not even like interesting.
No.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, here it is. I like
we're already complaining.
So this is by Dan Murrell.
Okay, cool.
Formerly of Screen Junkies, and now he's got his own YouTube channel. Great guy. Check him out. Does good reviews. Picard season 2 isn't just disappointing. It's downright negligent in its storytelling.
Sounds about right. Sounds about.
It's kind of perfect. Like the whole thing, it just feels like when you're playing darts, and instead of throwing one dart at a time, you just have a handful of darts, and you just throw them all at the exact same moment.
Yes. Yeah. Oh my God. So let's dive into season 2. So let me go ahead and give you guys kind of the bare bones of season 2 and why. Like when I tell you the bare bones, you might be like, "Oh, that sounds cool." So the bare bones, Q is dying.
Mm-hmm.
His powers are weakening. So he decides to in his almost his dying breath, give Picard a look at the importance of his life and his legacy. Doesn't that sound good? That sounds very powerful to me. Like looking back at his legacy and the influence. Oh my God, that sounds great. Then we get to the rest of the fucking season.
You see, we were talking. So you know how like seasons have been getting shorter and they've had like less episodes and stuff like that. This is a season that I really think would have benefited from having more episodes, because gosh darn it, there's so much stuff that they want to do, but they can't figure out the correct way to do it in the right amount of time. And so they just keep on trying to do everything at the same time, and it just doesn't work.
Counterpoint. I also feel like this season could also benefit from less episodes, because then we could get over it faster. Because oh my fucking God!
Fair.
Oh my!
Oh yeah!
Fair.
Like there's so much you could just trim out of this season, and it would literally be the better
like filler. We will break it down as we go. But like, yeah, the concept of Q giving Picard kind of this look at his legacy and the importance of his family and him, I love that idea. So the first episode is already kind of wonky because it opens up with him kind of hitting on the Romulan maid who's been working for him and her husband who apparently passed away between seasons, and now they're getting like a little like flirty, and it's kind of like
a little weird.
Okay.
My brain didn't connect that was the same person from the last season.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
yeah,
I was struggling with this show. I was like not connecting dots.
Well, season 2.
But then to be fair, season 2, how is one supposed to connect dots in season 2? They're only dots. All the dots are on different papers.
Yeah. So,
and I'm not crazy when like I didn't feel anything between Laris and Picard in season 1, right? They were just co-workers.
No, there was like, nothing.
Yeah.
Well, of course, I mean, obviously that wasn't thought out because like she had a husband. That guy was her husband. It was clearly established. And then, it's like, oh yeah, he's dead, and now these two are gonna get freaky. It's like, do we really need to give Picard's very old man at this point, even in Star Trek standards? Yeah. Do we really need to give him a romantic interest? Is that really important? Can we just maybe explore his character a bit? Is that too much to ask?
Well, there is a theory. So around the time that's somewhere in all this, Patrick Stewart came out with an autobiography, and a good chunk of that autobiography is about his new wife, and are like relatively new within the last few years.
Yeah,
and how like him getting married again so late in life has kind of given him like a new perspective on things like that. I'm not like belittling any of that and all that. Hey man, go get love, do your thing. I don't care how old you are, but like I wonder if that bled into the show. You know what I mean? Maybe. Like in that influence, kind of like that's the kind of story that he wanted to explore. Because I know like the reason why he never wears a Starfleet uniform in Picard is because he didn't want Picard to be in Starfleet anymore. That was a request that Patrick Stewart made. So I wonder if this is that same kind of thing. Like his new real love life wanted him to get all lovey-dovey on screen. Maybe I'm overthinking.
I mean, I respect that if it's true, but the problem is that they didn't really explore.
No, definitely 100%. I'm devil's advocating the hell out of this. It does not work. It's terrible. I hate it, but I'm like trying to, at least trying to see them on eye to eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Q doesn't pop up till the very end of the episode, and then you get very poorly de-aged John Delancey for like a heartbeat. And then he portals to current age John Delancey, which thank God, because number one, John Delancey, he obviously looks older, but like he still looks good. Just go with that. And he's still 100% capable of pulling off Q, and that's it's like awesome. So like when he pops up at the end of episode 1, I'm like excited for this season. I'm like, oh cool, and then he immediately portals him to an alternate reality, and it feels like the mirror universe, except they go out of their way to make sure to say it's not the mirror universe.
Right.
It is, and then they have to, and then it's like somehow he knew the main characters of the series and knew to portal them to this alternate universe as well. So Picard is teleported here along with Seven and Rios and Elnor and Raffi and Girardi. And then Q apparently missed the memo that Soji was a main character, so he didn't portal her. So I guess you gotta keep an eye on those memos.
Soji.
Yeah. So they're all have to gather up together, and they have to figure out how to go into this alternate universe, which requires that they're like, okay, so this is our universe, but a point in time has been changed. So this whole second episode is now almost its own story in this alternate universe adventure, where they have to figure out what point in time to go back to and then travel back to that point. Okay. Like it's already a mess in my opinion. It's like, what are we doing now?
It's there's an easier way to have done this, and they definitely chose the hard way.
Yes.
And what's funny is too, like they chose the hard way because like they wanted to just save money because it's cheap as hell to just film in 2022 Los Angeles. It's literally right outside your door of the studio, and the story suffered because of it so badly. And they didn't even do anything with the Bell riots.
I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't wear like the little like that they didn't like pose as rich people with like the little. I'm disappointed we didn't see like the people with like the feathers in their hat and stuff like that.
Sanctuary
like,
district.
I think it'd be funny if we kept little quirks like that.
If you want
to like slightly like 60s-ish stuff and like Strange New Worlds, then they go to the 2020s and they've got like the feathers in their hats. I just think it'd be funny stuff,
So
you have your own version of reality.
Fun fact, if you want to see a better couple episodes about Star Trek characters traveling back to the far off future of 2024, Star Trek Deep Space Nine's past tense is so much better than Picard season 2. Not even close.
It's a two-parter too, right? So it's like a full, it's great. It honestly,
it's almost like a movie-length story. Yeah, it's
got two Zacks and a little feather hat. Really, that's all that I would ever want.
Anyways, so they
and the guy from Gremlins is in it too, so it's worth seeing just for that.
Oh yeah, he's awesome. Yeah. But yeah, they figure out they have to go back to 2024, so they have to figure out how to steal the Borg Queen, because in this new reality, Seven was never assimilated, and they can't use her brain to do the calculations. By the way, they're doing the Star Trek 4 way of going back in time.
Yes.
So I mean, this season will reference Star Trek 4 quite a bit.
It's not just Star Trek 4. That really bad original series episode I referenced, the Gary 7 episode. Isn't that how? Doesn't the episode end with "I'm Kirk and the Enterprise just went back in time using a slingshot around the sun method, and we are now in the era of 1968"? That's what?
Yeah. There was
That's basically how it is, right?
There was something like that. I mean, there's also another episode where they established that they can travel in time just by punching up the numbers on the console and going back in time. They quickly abandoned that one, but yeah.
This is far too easy for them.
Yes.
Time travel should be a little bit more
you would
urgent.
think, yeah. I mean, after that one episode, they're like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't make it that easy to time travel. Hey guys, let's go back in time. Okay. We're back in time. We're
screwing up the timeline all the time.
Yeah.
Do they need to take like courses with like cadets and stuff like that to make sure they don't go on a ship and then accidentally go back to like the 1950s or something and screw up the timeline?
Oh no, we've gone back in time. I spilled coffee on the console.
I think, not to keep referencing other YouTube channels, but I think Red Letter Meteor one time calculated that time in the Star Trek universe is being completely rewrote based off the number of ships in Starfleet and, the number of times like each individual series does something. I think it was like 1,000 times a minute. Just time is just constantly just being reset and history is being rewritten.
Ooh. Of course, yeah.
Right.
So anyways, so they go back to 2024. And it's worth noting, so this is something that I had to read up on because it confused me. So Guinan's introduced in the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go back in time and we see past Guinan, who doesn't know who Picard is. And that bugged the shit out of me when I first watched this, because she knows who Picard is. That was introduced in Time Zero. And now there is an excuse for that. But it doesn't quite work, and I'll explain why. So, the excuse for that is that history's been rewritten. Mm-hmm. So she's never met Picard in this new universe, because Picard of the future would never go back in time to the 1800s to meet her, because that future doesn't exist anymore. The problem is there's that line he says to her in the future to make her get like a headache or something, which also is something that wouldn't happen because that future wouldn't exist. So. There's so much weird time shit they're doing.
I just think it would be funny if she actually did remember him and she just pointed a gun at him.
It's fucked with him. That would have been funny. Well, also, yesterday's Enterprise introduced the idea that Guinan is capable of recognizing when the timeline's off. So there's so much here where it's like Guinan, I really feel, should recognize him at least to a certain extent. Mm-hmm. For her, just not know who he is just feels wrong.
God, I do love that idea, Ashley, and I just like, wait, Guinan, it's me. I know you're not supposed to be here. Fuck off.
Yeah. You're an old man. No, go away now. That would be hilarious. But yeah, they don't do that. Guinan's here. Do they really do anything with Guinan this season?
I mean,
she's there.
She's there, doesn't she? She does like the thing with the detective dude.
Yeah.
Where she was like, well, those were Vulcans, and they were trying to help you.
We all
the consequences of your actions.
Windgrace in the chat. She uses the magic Q bottle.
True. The magic Q bottle is very important. Yes.
I mean, I've still got my magic Q bottle, but I'm just saving it for a rainy day. You know, like everyone's got a magic Q bottle.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, we came back to Q, and I didn't want to bring this up. So, I love having John Delancey back. I think it's a great idea to do a Q storyline. Later in the timeline, if we're going to do more Picard stories, let's involve Q. Absolutely.
Yeah.
As much as he was used in Voyager, Picard was always the better foil for him. So let's do that. The problem is, this doesn't feel like Q when he's rich and well. This feels more like season 1 Q, where he is much more like malicious and like that's one of the things. Like, this thing's supposed to be like a lesson for Picard, but then he's also telling Soong, whichever Soong this is from the year 2024, that he needs like Picard and when he says Picard taking out the picture, that's where we get to the car chase. But it's not like Jean-Luc Picard. It is Picard's ancestor, Renee Picard, and she's supposed to do this launch. It's going to change history. Soong's trying to run her down, and it feels weird because it's like, what is Q teaching Picard by going here and killing an ancestor and just having Picard get hit by a car to prevent it, and then doing all this stuff to it sets up Q and then Soong as like these villains throughout the series.
Yeah, and then at the end, Q and Picard have like their little romantic moment.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel earned because Picard, like, Q's been a really big dick throughout this whole season, and
unironically, Q and Picard had more romantic tension in that one scene than Picard had with
Laris,
with Laris the entire time they were together.
No
entire time.
Doubt.
Well, I mean, it's kind of impossible to not have chemistry with John Delancey. Like, you've seen Breaking Bad, right? There's that scene where he and Walter White are talking in the bar. Oh, I wanted them to bang. No.
Of course.
I am the one who knocks. Lucifer in the chat has a great point. The 10 forward thing was so silly. I mean, that's a great one too. But like, I mean, come on, man. Like how do you? It's not complicated. Why do you have to put her bar on the corner of 10th and Forward Street? Like, that's so
and I thought that was lame, and like when I kind of accept it in the future because it's like, okay, maybe she chose it for that address, obviously, but I still think it would have been just fine to have her have a random bar just called 10 Forward.
That is true. Present day Guinan, I like that was cute. It's like a little rememberance to when she was on, but when it goes back to the past, it's like,
and it's the exact same thing, and I'm like, what? Like that? Like, I was always under the impression that was just the fucking room on the ship. What the hell? Yeah, like they always go to room 10 section or
the forward section of
forward or something. Yeah, that's what it is. But apparently Guinan named it. What are we supposed to assume from this?
Permission.
Well, what's funny too is didn't Guinan wasn't it 10 Forward before Guinan got there? Because didn't Guinan not join the show like season 2, season 3, something like that?
Yeah, season 2 was when she popped up.
So, but it was still 10 Forward before Guinan was there.
What comment did you want?
I wanted to pick this one because I have a thought to say.
Actually, I think.
Which one?
Yeah, you can
Whoa.
Okay,
so all I want to say about this is that I think it'd be really funny if we established it as just a thing in Star Trek where everyone looks the exact same as the other people of their families. And it's like, it's canon. It's not even like, because this would establish it's canon because Picard thinks that this is Q.
Yeah.
And so I just think...
Well, I don't think I actually showed you the proper episode. But yeah, Q does have a son introduced in Voyager, and it's actually played by John Delancey's real life son. And as I recall, he does a pretty good job. Not a great episode, but as I recall, the Q, John Delancey's son does a good job as younger Q.
I just think it'd be funny if canonically in Star Trek, everyone just has like an incredibly limited gene pool for some reason. And to like the extent no one can tell each other apart. And I think that would just be incredibly funny.
So yeah, the whole story. Well, I guess we haven't gotten to another major antagonist, and this is probably for me the most frustrating part of season 2, because I despise this. So they steal the Borg Queen so they can do the calculations, and then we spend the rest of the season with Girardi essentially being assimilated by the Borg Queen, assimilating people and stuff through touch and stuff like that. Her breaking into a rendition of Shadow of the Night by Pat Benatar for some random unexpected reason. Like they need a distraction, but it was like, what the fuck? Where'd this come from?
I liked when they broke into I can't remember a bar. There was a place they were playing music there. Go to music a lot on their dates. Yeah. I don't know.
So here's the deal. Season 1, I didn't like having the Borg too much in season 1, but I kind of forgave it because it's like not like the Borg were main antagonists or anything. They were just kind of there. They were obviously not like functioning or anything. It was just kind of almost like referencey Borg. And then here we have the Borg kind of being full-fledged villains again. And it's reminding me of how burnt out not only I am on the Borg at this point, but how this is not a good execution of them.
You know, to be honest, the thing with Girardi and the Borg Queen kind of vaguely reminded me of like the do you know like the I mean you do know, I know you know, but like you know like the new like Venom movies, it kind of reminded me of that dynamic a little bit, except just like less fun.
Yeah, a lot less fun. I mean,
the Venom movies aren't particularly good, but they're funny.
Well, that's the
they
thing.
Have a fun dynamic together.
The romantic.
That's the entire reason that they keep on being able to make these movies.
I mean, Venom 2 is bad, but I kind of love the romantic comedy aspect of Venom and Eddie's relationship. That like it plays almost like a romantic comedy. That I kind of love that.
Yeah, I love when
they have the breakup and they get back together.
And he doesn't he trash his car or something?
Yes,
or his motorcycle. Yeah,
it's a beautiful love story. It's weird. I enjoy the Venom movies, but not because they're good. They're really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, Tom Hardy is just kind of delightful in them too. It's kind of hard not to get a little kind of swept up.
That's another thing. I love his performance, and I don't think it's good, but I love it. It's so just cheesy and dumb.
I don't know what he's doing. Like, apparently that was improvised when he gets inside that lobster tank in the first one. But hey, man, go wild. Shine on, you crazy diamond. Give it to me.
Yeah. But anyways, getting back to Picard season 2, we have the Borg. I guess rewind a bit. Rios, they have like the ground crew, and it's like Seven, Raffi, Picard, and Rios get when they go back to 2024. That the ground crew. Rios, they all get transported down. They get transported to different locations. Rios gets transported like in the air and just kind of tumbles and gets injured.
That's kind of funny.
And taken to a hospital where illegal immigrants go to for medical care that's off the records, which is interesting. It's like, okay, it's a cool thing to explore. And he meets a woman who's working there who he's into, and they kind of have a thing, and then they're busted by ICE, and it's like, ooh, this is an interesting thing to explore. And then they get out, and it's never fucking mentioned again.
Yeah.
What the fuck are we doing?
It's that all the darts at once, just throw everything.
We need to include a completely different storyline in every single episode, or else we are not developing the plot.
So we didn't even get to that. So Eleanor's in this season, guys. Eleanor's in this season, and then he gets portaled to the alternate reality with them, of course, because he's one of the main characters. He is recognized as a main character, unlike Soji, apparently.
Soji.
Soji and then
was actually. There was more of Soji, I feel like, in season 1 than there was of Eleanor.
Oh, there definitely was.
Really funny.
Absolutely. But anyways, Eleanor gets portaled over there. He meets up with Raffi. And then before, Yeah, it's before they can go back in time.
He like immediately dies.
Killed.
He like immediately dies somehow.
He is murdered by Seven's husband in the alternate reality.
Don't they like bring him back as like a whatchamadoodle? They have him as like a computer program or whatever that looks like Elnor and apparently like isn't Elnor, but is Elnor and experienced Elnor's death.
Yeah, it was a computer program, I believe, made by Girardi to fight against the Borg. Because even though Girardi is being assimilated, she's mentally fighting against the Borg and whatever the fuck bullshit reason they want to invent.
I've been thinking. I've just realized you've been saying like Girardi the entire.
Yeah. Is that her name?
Her name's Girardi.
Girardi? Oh,
what's Girardi?
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I was kind of confused because I thought you were talking about a different person.
No,
I was like, I don't remember who this person is, and I feel kind of embarrassed. But I'm not going to say anything.
It's the one being taken out by Borg. I don't care.
Look, just call her the drummer from Scott Pilgrim, and we're all just so we don't even need to worry about it.
There we go. Yeah. It's Scott's ex who always has a very dry one-liner to throw at him.
I guess while I'm here, I think it's also isn't it Raffi?
Yeah, it's Raffi.
Oh, okay. It's just you've been saying Raffi.
Have I?
Yeah.
Well, I'm terrible at pronouncing names. Guys, you watch me live stream. I'm terrible at pronouncing names.
I didn't want to say anything because I was like, it doesn't really matter, but like I'm already here, and so it's like I might as well also tell him about the other thing.
Oh, Queen, what do you expect?
You name.
Well, what do you think, Lonzy?
There's so much about this season that just
oh god. Yeah. So yeah, Elnor's dead through most of it. And
which is cool. I'm fine with that. Like Elnor's adorable, but there's too many characters on this show. There's way too many characters.
If we're gonna kill off a character, can we maybe kill off a character that I'm not kind of interested in? I don't know.
Right.
Romulan swordsman's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to see him do some epic Romulan swording.
I mean,
but like with character development.
I mean, if we kill off the drummer from Scott Pilgrim, we don't have to deal with the Borg stuff this season. That's a win. That's a major win.
That's true.
But anyways, I guess we didn't talk about the first episode. So like the first episode ends with like the Federation getting invaded by this new Borg that looks way more like dark and evil than classic Borg, and somehow is less scary. Like they have this dark evil Borg ship, and then the Queen is like all dressed in black in a black cloak and shit, and all black costume, and somehow this all super scary costume looks way less scary than the Borg have ever been before. Which I love how the Borg are usually just like basic, and that's what's usually scary to me about them. When they're actually trying to look scary, I'm like, okay, this is too try hard. What the fuck are we doing?
The Borg don't need to be scary.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
they're just that good.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, yeah, the whole thing gets blown up. And that's when Q pops up, and then he pulls Picard to the alternate dimension. Then we end up in 2024, getting us caught up to what we were talking about, where this season is just atrociously bad.
Shout out to the Borg Queen and the Borg Queen design in First Contact.
Yes.
That actually looked good. Good actress.
Like Alice Krieg is a legend, man. I love that.
I mean, I still don't think the Borg Queen really make a whole lot of sense, like conceptually, like the way that they're used.
No,
I don't really think makes sense. But like, I feel like you've justified it by making it kind of cool. So.
No, I like watching Star Trek Picard makes me so wish that First Contact was this the final outing of the Borg, like they were thinking about doing, because it's like that's the big screen outing of the Borg. Let's just do a big adventure, do a good job of it, and just be done with the Borg. I like that idea. And it's not to say Voyager was a complete crapshoot with the Borg. There's a couple of gems there, but like they did use them too much. And then Picard just drove the final nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, with the way that this series is set up, you'd think that all they did in TNG was like getting fights with the Borg, which is kind of funny because they really don't interact with the Borg. I don't
know. There's like 5 Borg episodes in TNG. It won't surprise me if you break down screen time, and there's more screen time of the Borg in Picard than in TNG.
Oh, definitely.
I would.
Actually, no. Sorry, that's definitely false. Because there's not 5 episodes of the Borg. There's 5 episodes without the Borg. Okay, it's entirely a Borg series. 98% of the time. And by the way, I just need to shout her out because she's such a legend. The original Borg Queen, Alice Krieg, and she did 2 episodes of Picard.
She was in like Gretel and Hansel or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
I utterly adore that movie. If you haven't seen it, strong recommend. She's just a living legend. So yeah, we're talking about the Borg Queen. Got to give her some props.
I mean, I'm not thrilled with how they treated the Borg in Endgame, but like it was nice to get her back for the finale of Voyager, and okay, so Picard season 2. God, I know there's so much this season I want to talk about. I'm trying to think if we got it all.
So have we really gone into Soji and Dr. Soon in this season, where it's like
not so much. We brought up how he's the villain, but like, it's so weird and convoluted.
Right? So this season, this ancient precursor to Noonien Soon or whatever is trying to stop Picard's ancient ancestor from going to Europa to stop global warming.
Yes.
That's the plot of this season in an extreme nutshell. That's just so insane. Like, and the fact that it's so like, I will give Evil Soon in this season his motivation to help his daughter. I don't agree with it, but I understand it. He's that villain where it's like I always mix up empathy and sympathy. I'm bad with words. Where it's like you agree with them, you understand it, but you don't agree with them. That's dope as hell. But like, why is it the same actress again? And why is it like I just don't understand this family. I don't understand why it's so important. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
They realized that they forgot to beam Soji over, and they
we
already signed the actress on for the next season. We need to put her in something.
Well, I mean, it does make me wonder, like, what the hell was up with Flo? Why doesn't she look exactly like Soji at this point? Don't give me that actress wasn't born yet bullshit. Oh God. So yeah. Okay, motivation, but oh my God. And the Q is just such a villain, just like getting Soon to try to just completely fuck up with Picard and
then
like, so.
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Then the Gary 7 plot comes in. And there's this Watcher who's on Earth, and they're fulfilling the role of a character from one of the most despised episodes from the original series. And it kind of works within the context of the show, but like at the same time, it's extremely distracting if you know Star Trek and you know that storyline, because that episode was one of those failed backdoor pilots that you hear about where they're trying to introduce a new TV show and an episode of a current running TV show. And just of all the things to pull from the original series, why would you go with that episode? What is the point? Like, what are you trying to get with it? And that's before we talk about how like her main purpose in the show is to help Picard deal with his like Minotaur nightmares related to his dad and his mom, and all of that is convoluted and horrible.
Which, on its own, I think that could even work, but like it feels like a mess this thrown. Like by the time we get to that stuff with his family, I am so disconnected with the actual story that it doesn't matter how brilliant this idea is.
I didn't even hate that. I thought that could have been pretty interesting if executed well. But the thing is, we were so far into the trash dump that is this season that at that point it was like I can't even take this seriously. All I can think about while I'm watching this is how British these French people are.
Yeah, they are super British still. But like I like the idea of going back to Picard's backstory and learning like. His home life was a little fucked up. His dad, at first, he has a lot of resentment for his dad, but we learned kind of like his dad was honestly making the best of a really, really bad situation because his mom was, while he had really great ideas of his mom, she was not well at all. And the dad was really trying to like protect her and protect him and try to keep everything together.
The dad was in an impossible situation.
Yes, the dad was really in an impossible situation. And I feel like if you cut that part out of this season and almost have like maybe a weird, really dark short trek of just that stuff, might be all right. Okay. I think the actors do a good job.
I didn't hate it. I feel like if it was actually given if it was actually in a good season of Star Trek, I think that could have been
that's its biggest sin. It's in Picard season 2. And I'm like, oh.
And there's also the thing that like, oh no, go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
I was just gonna say I get what they're trying to do because it all comes back to the idea of ancestry and Picard's past and how much his past informs his current self. But it is so just poorly executed overall. like Rene Picard, his ancestor, who's supposed to go to Europa.
Mm-hmm.
How many lines of dialogue does she get?
So few.
She talks.
I mean,
She's
for
there.
such a vital character, she is like the linchpin of what changes the entire history of the future.
Yeah, and she just sort of shows up a couple of times. They've got like that thing with like her and her therapist that's not really developed on like at all.
Well, it's this Q fucking with her essentially.
Yeah, she has mental health problems, I guess. Soon tries to hit and run her, but instead hits and run this 90-year-old man who I have no clue who he is.
Well, here, real quick,
I think about this all the time.
Real quick, if people need an update.
I want you to remove an obstacle, Renee. Picard.
Beep beep.
I don't suppose you want to catch a ride to Europa. Feel like you could hang in the cockpit. Keep everyone calm.
Perhaps another time.
Beep beep.
God, that shot.
Unedited.
I just realized part of the reason I think that's so funny is because they have the Roadrunner noises.
Yeah, I added it, yeah.
Oh, you did? You added it?
No, I mean, it's unedited. Yeah, that was the original scene as presented.
Oh, I wish.
Yeah, it's
Beep, beep.
it's a very silly scene. Like, even without the goofy edits. I like, honestly, if I just played it as is, well, this episode will get copyright. But if I played it as is, you would still think it's very fucking silly. It just comes out of left field where he's like, I'm gonna gun down Picard. And he's running over this 80-year-old man who is just like, the fuck.
You just need to take down your first opposition, Rene Picard. Beep beep.
Yeah. Do it.
And also, this is one of those moments where it's like, maybe being a robot here is a good thing for him. I feel like a robot could take getting hit by a car better than a person. But no, he gets knocked around like a person.
Keep in mind, he's a robot with no special abilities, so he's just bleeding there on the road. So
just bleeding out.
He's a robot with blood somehow.
I guess season 3 makes use of that plot line, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
but
and then it's like,
yeah.
oh god, what was I gonna say? My brain.
Also, isn't it really weird how like we never see a scene of Renee asking, "Hey, how was that guy that got run over in front of me?"
Yeah, that really old guy who seemed nice to me. In that one scene of dialogue I get.
Did he die?
Yeah.
To be honest, if I saw that, I would just be like, "Oh crap, he's dead."
Right?
No,
like especially if because he pushes her out of the way, right? Like if someone pushed me out of the way and they got hit by a car, I would go to the hospital with them, and I would want to make sure they're okay.
Like how is she not rushing him to a hospital?
Like that's the thing. Generally speaking, when you do a time travel story, you will have a character from the past who almost becomes like a regular, like major character for them to like associate with, and like, I mean, obviously you go back to Star Trek 4, it's Jillian. You go back to like Voyager's Future Ends. It's Sarah Silverman, whoever the name of her character's been. It's been
get it, Tom Paris. Hell yeah, it was Sarah Silverman.
Yeah. But you almost always have a character like that who's almost like the guide for them. Picard season 2 doesn't really have that. Like the closest you get is maybe Rios's doctor friend who he's getting romantic with. But like she doesn't really have much screen time except to flirt with Rios, and that's it.
She's there.
I guess
she truly is there.
You could maybe argue Guinan, but not even. Like again, like Time's Arrow, it's fucking Mark Twain.
You see, the problem is that like, even if they did like Guinan like in that vein, my brain did not register it as being a person from the past.
Yeah. It doesn't quite fit because it's not supposed to be a person from the past. Well, it is a person from the past, but like it's a person we know.
The way we recognize them, it's a person from the future.
Yeah. It's somebody who's definitely way more knowledgeable at this type of stuff. Like we would need a person from the past who actually is just a dude, essentially.
And also, do we know what it is that kind of triggers Rios's and Dr. Lady's like attraction to each other? Like they're both hot as hell. I understand it, but at the same time, it's like. They seem to go from 0 to we're in love in the course of like half a scene. Like, am I wrong about that?
Well, they need to explain it because I guess we'll get to it here. Rios decides to stay in the past to just hook up with her, which
cool.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, okay, cool, but like,
could we have developed their relationship a little bit more in that guideline so that I could better understand why he's staying back there? You know,
yeah,
she's hot.
Well, I mean, they try to establish that Rios really likes this timeline. It's like, really, you like being held by ice for an episode? That was awesome. Yeah. It feels like they're partway through, and it's like, oh, let's do a cool commentary on ice, and then they forget about that and be like, oh, you know what, let's write it so Rio stays back here, so let's make the rest of his time here awesome. It's like, I don't know, maybe do a lot more rewriting and choose which one you want to go with and stick with it.
Well, and then like the FBI becomes involved, but it's like an FBI like Black Ops under the table thing because it's like unofficial. So it's like, why are all these government agencies being shady and weird?
We should get to that because
I was a little boy, a Vulcan came near me and he touched my forehead a little bit, and I touched my forehead.
That's the resolution to that, by the way. So an FBI agent breaks in and arrests Picard and Guinan because it's like, aha, we figured out you people are not from this timeline. You're aliens, aren't you? They bust them, and the whole thing gets resolved because this dude, when he was a kid, encountered Vulcans, and he's like, oh, you know, those Vulcans were actually nice, so I should let you guys go. And that's the end of the story.
I also love the moment where he's just like, and he came and he grabbed me by my forehead, and Picard's like, are you sure it wasn't more of a...
Yeah.
He was like, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
As I rehash your PTSD by doing it to you now again. And someone that you think is an alien.
It was so bad.
Like, this is clearly something that's like informed the rest of his life as soon as it happens. But then they're like, oh, that wasn't negative, actually. They were trying to be helpful. And then he's like, oh, well, if they were trying to be helpful, then I guess it's okay.
And it's such a weird detour too, because like there's too much going on. You need to cut things from this season, not be adding more.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it does make a little sense because if they're going to break into like a NASA banquet thingy, like clearly someone's going to see them and wonder who they are. So it makes sense to follow up on that. But like, of all the things that you're just letting hang and not following up on, that's the thing you're following up on.
Yeah.
Priorities, man, they're weird.
So should we get to the big action episode this season that is all at the Picard Vineyard, where it's like Soong and the Borg are attacking all our main characters in like this almost like Die Hard-esque scene?
I don't know. You're talking about the big action episode is the one with the run where Picard gets hit by.
No, well, that's the best action in the season for sure. But yeah, so that's. I believe that's the episode where it's revealed that Picard's mom hung herself, and that is that's powerful and poignant, and it's in this weird fucking action episode where like Soong, who is apparently they couldn't shoot in a forest, so they had to terribly blue screen him in a forest scene for some reason. I wish I had grabbed that image, but like I bet you I can find it on here. It is shocking how bad it looks, and it's like
it is really remarkable. Like, why didn't you just walk outside?
Yeah,
why couldn't you have touched grass for this?
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the Percy Jackson streaming series, but there's this famous shot from it where it's just on a beach, but you can tell that they shot it in the volume, that super expensive set thing that Disney's in love with these days. But like, it's just a beach. Just go to the goddamn beach and just shoot on the beach.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised we don't have a good image off of Google search, but yeah, if I ever edit this down, we'll add it in post. But like, yeah, he's standing out in the forest, and it's obviously blue screened, and it looks so bad. And I don't know, maybe it's a side effect of the pandemic, but like, I don't know. Can you not shoot outside because of the pandemic? That seems weird.
It kind of reminds me of when don't they have like a thing as well where like it's not like Laris, but it's like the lady that looks exactly
that's
like
the Watcher.
Laris
That's
from
the
the
Gary
past.
Seven
It's
reference,
also supposed to be related to Laris.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the
And
Watcher
then, like,
character. Yeah.
Her ear is like clearly CGI'd in this one scene,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks really weird and bad.
Yeah. So
If
like,
we're talking about weird and bad CGI, there's
so yeah. Lindsay already brought the Watcher character, and that is Laris, because genetic diversity does not exist in Star Trek, apparently. No. So like, she's just a human, and Picard's like, hey, you're like someone I know, but she's a Romulan. It's like, well, I'm just a human, so I don't know why you would think that. And Larry's like, oh yeah, I'm actually a Romulan. It's like, we fucking know.
I forgot about the fake out. No, I'm just a human. Stop calling me a Romulan. Nah, I am a Romulan. You're a
To be honest, my brain erased that as well. For me, everyone knew that all the Romulans were Romulans the whole time. And this
these first 2 seasons are plagued with people who are obviously fucking Romulan.
I barely remember her protesting against being called a Romulan.
Yeah, I'm not a Romulan. What? No, I'm human. I have round ears, like all humans do. Exclusively humans in Star Trek universe have round ears. Come on.
Yes,
I definitely have red blood. So sorry, what was that?
Yes, you are. You are a Romulan.
Although I guess, what if she actually was a human, but like Picard just gaslit her into being a Romulan, and so she started like having like holograms of ears.
Her control her descendants were Romulan at that point. This is massive gaslighting.
Essentially creating Laris.
You see, talking about this is way better than actually watching through this season. I'm just saying.
If you want to watch
the other thing about this season,
don't listen to us talk about it.
So much happens, but you don't care about any of it. So it's like nothing's happening. You're just watching dead air.
No, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay, Q is not like, he's obviously ill. You don't know he's dying till later, but he's obviously, his powers aren't working. He's trying to teach Picard a lesson. They have to go back to the past and help out Picard's ancestor do this mission. And it's like, wow, this sounds like a decent setup for a season. But then like there's all these other fucking plot lines. There's Sung and his android-ish daughter that he needs to save, but like he's done it like 50 billion times. There's Q essentially acting like season 1 Q, which as we all know, season 1 Q is the best Q, right? There's the Borg, because God forbid we do a season of Picard without the Borg. God for fucking bid. There's Rios getting captured by ICE, but it's okay because he's hooking up with Dr. Lady and it's all good now. There's
her son
Eleanor, who's dead. There's Raffi and Seven, who are just bickering and arguing with each other as they go on adventures.
Apparently have romantic tension?
Yeah, apparently it's supposed to be romantic tension, but it just feels like kind of annoying to me. It's like, I don't know, can we just explore this relationship rather than just having them bitch at each other? I don't know.
I don't think the writers know how to write romance. Like Laris comes out of nowhere, then there's like weird not Laris, and like they don't seem to be able to write Seven and Raffi in any way that's like compelling or interesting. So it's just like, why write romance? Like it's clearly not a priority or a strength of yours, so why keep shoehorning it in? I don't understand it.
Well, I've not heard that Wind Grace, but apparently
Wind Grace.
the guy who killed Eleanor was originally supposed to be evil Chakotay, but he recently came out and turned down the role because it was dumb. Well, number one, I think having Seven married to Chakotay would just annoy a lot of people.
But it would have been cool to see Robert Beltran, kind of.
I will say Robert Beltran, recognizing that was dumb, is a rare Robert Beltran W in my opinion. He's not had the best takes, so that's one where it's like, okay, I see where he's coming from.
Also, that's implying that Seven is evil when she's straight. I don't know how I feel about that.
I like that idea.
We need this to be implemented into Star Trek canon.
That's already.
This reminds me of like the mirror universe. Do you remember
Kira,
Garrick in the mirror universe?
Yeah.
And then he's like really into like Kira when he's like evil in the universe. I mean, I guess he's sus in both universes, but I mean, I'd argue he's a bit better morally in like the main universe, and also he's funny. Yeah, so it's okay.
Well, in the evil universe, he's straight, and that's how you know it's the evil universe. Yeah. So, guys. Man. Season 2 is a fucking wreck. I don't know what else to say at this point. Have we?
I'm just trying to think if there's anything major.
At the end, Q and Picard make out sloppy style.
That's one of the strengths of the season, honestly. Like that ending scene where Q's like, "Hey, I hope you learned something," and they hug, and it's nice. And it's like, wow, this is really well done, well performed. What the fuck does that have to do with the rest of the shit I've been seeing?
Yeah, that was what I was thinking. I was like, why are you guys like looking romantically into each other's eyes after all of this?
Yeah, Picard's like hugging Q, and it's like, okay, like if this is off my feelings off the original TNG run, I'm like, I get this. But this is after season 2, where Q has just been like season 1 villaining this whole fucking season. That's the frustrating thing. Let's bring back John Delancey Q, but not do the fun version. Do the shitty version that was rewritten because they recognize John Delancey's good in this role, but this character fucking sucks.
Yeah, like Q always kind of toes the line between nefarious and hilarious, and like that's why he's awesome, because he's both. But like, there's good Q and there's bad Q, and horny Q is generally bad Q. And I guess dying Q is also seems to be bad Q. So you can't kill Q, and you can't be attracted to anyone, and that's how you do Q. I guess. What's also funny is I never realized that was John Delancey's kid in that one episode of Voyager, because I'm actually friends with not him but the other kid. Q's got 2 kids. So I didn't. I was just like, I didn't know that. That's funny. That's a cute little story.
Nice. Yeah. So I guess we're ready for season 3.
Ooh, are we?
I mean,
it is a vast improvement. Let's give it a little bit of credit. It's a huge improvement over what we've been talking about.
There is one thing we need to mention. So the season ends with Q dead and Elnor resurrected. And then there's like a big ass hole in space that opens up and shoots a really big laser through it. And the laser gets blocked by a bunch of shields and it doesn't do anything. But I want to make sure everyone is aware of that. Q is dead at the end of season 2. Elnor is alive again, and there was a really big laser. Also the Borg commandeer Rios' ship. So the Rios' ship is gone.
Oh yes. So Rios stays back in time, so he doesn't go to the future with them. Girardi? How do I pronounce it?
Jurati
is the new Borg queen.
Yeah.
And she's actually like, a good guy.
But she's like feeling legit somehow.
So she has this evil looking ship, and she has this dark evil looking outfit, but she's actually really cool, guys. She's a nice guy. The Borg are nice, and they're going to ally themselves and become part of the Federation now.
Woo!
I'm really glad that I'm assuming
this is all very important.
I assume we're going to choose to ignore this for any and all future installments.
Oh, of course. Of course.
I do think it'd be they should have friendship Borg though in Lower Decks.
Yeah. They should absolutely reference this stuff in Lower Decks. That'd be amazing.
Windgrace has a really, really, really good point, and I was wrong about something. You're right. That was Rios' ship from I apologize.
Timeline one.
Okay.
Yes.
I take back one negative thing I said about the end of Picard season 2. Thank you for keeping me honest, my friend.
I want to stress, I thought that was like just watching the season. I was like, wow, that's a terrible way to resolve the Borg. I really dislike it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, okay, if we just let the Borg die with that, I'm down. Like, I don't want to see any more Borg. So if we just want to resolve it with that, sure, let's move on. Please, for the love of God, move on. I'm reminded of the meme. I brought that up to you. It's the Good Place meme where Janet's like, hey, I have a brand new villain for this season of Picard. It's completely new and original. And then Michael just looks at her and says, it's not going to be the Borg again, is it? And she's like, no, this is completely new and original. He's like, oh, I'm super excited. Let's see this new villain you've come up with. And she just hands him the Borg. This is foreshadowing season 3 a bit.
I am with got my brain. My brain, it's too powerful. But like when Girardi became Epic Borg Queen, did they like absorb that? Did they absorb now that they are friendship Borg as well? Did they absorb some of like her silliness? I think that would be. I mean, it wouldn't be good, but it would be something.
I kind of like the idea of the Borg just traveling the universe, singing Pat Benatar.
That'd be pretty sick.
Just randomly. Hey, Pat Benatar's not bad. Okay, I'm game. We belong. Okay.
The Borg are
I also definitely want to see every time Picard like interacts with this new Borg collective, like that, the big Borg voice saying, "Hello, Mister. We've missed you. How can we help?" That's a terrible impression of the Borg, but you know what I'm trying to say.
We can try. We can try like we can make this happen. We could like time it and say it together.
What is it?
We can make the Borg voice happen.
Oh, hey, Mister. Should we just have the Borg voice? Oh, yeah. Hey, okay. Count to three. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Hello, Mister. We tried. We tried.
So season 3, it begins a little wonky in my opinion, but like, most of this season is dealing with this grand, like this secret group working within the Federation who do terrible terrorist stuff and kill lots of people. Yeah. And for me, it really kicks up when we introduce the idea that these people are actually fucking renegade changelings. I'm like, oh, that's the TNG crew is going up against changelings. We never see that before. I love it. Oh yes, like that's a great way to borrow from the past, but like do something new with it. What a great fucking idea.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like we have the cast slowly coming in. We get Riker's there right from the beginning, hanging out with Picard. And Worf comes in. I want to say second episode. Towards the end of the second episode, we get Worf. By the way,
I think so.
Worf this season might be. It's up there for portrayals of Worf. I love Worf this season.
Yeah,
he is so badass, but like still kind of funny. I love it.
To be honest, I think that part of I don't think that the good parts of the season hit me as hard. I think in part because I don't really feel like I have any like nostalgia for TNG.
Yeah,
but Worf was fun. I liked Worf.
Mm-hmm.
Worf, yes.
So
yes, I approved of. Yes.
I mean, watching this season made me think, because Michael Dorn's been petitioning for a Captain Worf series for a while, and watching this season, I'm like, fucking give it to him already. Oh my god.
On the Defiant. I want more Defiant.
Yes, absolutely. Give him the Defiant. Yes.
Have Kira cameo.
Yeah.
Right. Kira cameo.
That can be legacy character to come back. Fuck yeah.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Defiant. It's stationed at Deep Space Nine. She, it's mostly Adventures of the Defiant, but like Kira pops up to help him out. Fuck yeah, do it.
And also, like, it kind of makes sense, like bringing back the changelings. That that means you have to. You don't have to, but it's a good idea to bring back Worf. And if you're going to bring back Worf, you might as well bring back more of the TNG crew. So there's like a natural like escalation to these ideas in this season. It's refreshing. It's not just random darts thrown at the wall.
Yeah, I mean, this season does do a couple things like, so like I don't know how long it's supposed to be between season 2 and season 3, but since then, apparently 7 of 9 has joined Starfleet and already become the commander of a ship, which is like,
I mean,
the fuck?
7 of 9 is pretty awesome.
She is awesome, but what the hell? Harry was an ensign for 7 years, at least.
Harry Kim.
Harry Kim might still be an ensign to this day, for all we know.
Listen. Harry Kim died many years ago. And forsake his name.
No,
Harry Kim was stuck with Janeway, who did not appreciate him. Actually, I guess off track, but there is this Star Trek graphic novel series that I've read a little bit of, and Harry Kim is one of the characters that's in it, and Cisco's in it as well. Cisco's in there being cool. But the thing about it though is I can tell that the people that wrote it were like not satisfied with the way Harry Kim was treated at all, because Harry Kim is just so badass in it, like for no reason. Like they keep on giving him badass stuff to do. I don't even remember what all of it was, to be honest with you, but it was wild. It was like it just kept on coming. It's nice. Like whoa. I can't remember though whether he was an ensign or not. So he may
that'd be cool.
That would be so funny though.
Oh god. So yeah, most of Picard season 3, I'm kind of on board. So other elements introduced. So like Riker and Crusher are introduced very quickly early on. I think Crusher is the first character seen even before Picard.
Yeah.
And it's introduced that she has a son, and a son with an unusually noteworthy British accent. And it's like, wait, is that genetic?
Yeah, I noticed that. And no, she made the joke that it was like, oh, well, it might be in his genes, and I was like, you are telling me that the French guy has a genetic British accent?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That makes perfect sense. Actually, I don't know what you're doing.
Anyway,
I mean, that's just how genes work.
It was that he anyway, it was apparently that he took school in the UK for whatever reason, but we all know why he had that accent. We all know why.
Yeah, he's Picard's son. Well, I mean, there is that little bit where Riker's like, hey, don't you recognize it's obviously your son? And Picard doesn't really believe it. And I think to a degree, I understand where Picard's coming from, because, like, surely if he had a son, Beverly wouldn't fucking keep that from him, would she? Because what the fuck? Like, why would, and then they really stretch it to come up with an excuse as to why Beverly doesn't tell him. And I find it really frustrating, because it's like, this excuse is so weak, Beverly. You know this is weak. Like, this feels like they're kind of sabotaging her character a bit, and I do not like it.
Go on.
Oh, that's kind of it. Like, I really hate how they handle the fact that, like, Beverly hid it from him. And honestly, it would have made more sense if maybe, like, that's the thing. So Picard's son is this. He was born sometime after Nemesis in timeline, so he's supposed to be like early 20s, and he looks like he's at least 30. And you look up the actor, he's like 33 or some shit. It's like, okay, that makes more sense.
I know. I was thinking there was with Jack's actor. I forget who this man's name is, and I mean this is absolutely no disrespect to him as a person. But when I was watching this, I found it like so Ed Spielers. There was something I could not remember what his face looked like for the life of me. Every time he showed up in like a different like shot or like time, I just thought it was a different dude. It confused me so much.
That's amazing.
But
it was just I just couldn't. I had no facial recognition for this man, and I don't know why.
Yeah. So like overall, my thoughts of season 3 broadly are mostly positive. I feel like they do some weak storyline stuff. I feel like they didn't have money to bring back Elnor, and they obviously didn't know what to do with him, which is why he's not back, even though he's very much established to be alive.
What's funny is, they don't even mention him. He's just gone.
Yeah, he's just gone.
Like
So much so, when you see the samurai sword going through and breaking Raffi out of the Ferengi, I was like, oh, here's Elnor. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's Worf. I mean, that's cool. It's Worf, but where's Elnor?
It's better. It's Worf. It's better.
It is better. It's Worf. If I can only get Elnor or Worf, I'm definitely choosing Worf. That is unambiguously happening. But it does feel weird they just dropped him. But let's see. So yeah, Raffi is actually secretly working for Worf. She's Worf's the first one to figure out that the changelings are a big role here.
Yeah.
I love the changeling backstory.
Yeah.
I think it's Amanda Plummer is her name. She's the daughter of Christopher Plummer.
Yes.
Fucking damn. She plays Vadic, and she gets a little overplayed, but I don't know. I like her performance because it's just over the top cheesy. She's a changeling smoking a cigar for apparently no reason, but I'm like, okay.
She saw it on movies, and she was like, "This looks cool. I'm going to do this, even though I have no looks."
Yeah. Yes. It's all right, I like the renegade changelings. Then it's introduced that like they're working for the Borg, apparently.
I guess sure. Like you can't. I don't really feel like you can really. We were talking about this, but we didn't really feel like you could like assimilate like the changelings.
Yes, I don't see how you assimilate changelings.
I forget what the technical name is. Isn't that supposed to be like derogative in canon? Anyway,
changeling. Changeling is the name they've chosen for themselves.
Oh, okay. There's the derogative term was shapeshifter. Okay,
yes.
I was about to say, are we being racist to these Star Trek characters? But anyway,
they're Nazis, Ashley. It's fine.
But anyway, I was can't really like, can you really assimilate them? You know, and so I was thinking to myself, Dad brought this up, and I thought to myself, well, if you can't beat them, join them.
Yeah, that's the only excuse I can think of, because like I do not understand why they are even remotely working together at all. And I feel like honestly, like it's like so part of me is like, okay, I get maybe having some sort of twist villain at the end, but part of me thinks the season would have gone better if it was just changelings throughout and just drop the Borg.
Oh, I know the
100%.
changeling design.
Yeah.
And changeling design, I wasn't super into. It did definitely grow on me though.
Mm-hmm.
I do kind of like. I think it was like later. It's like I kind of understood what it was supposed to be. Like it's similar to the thing with Odo where he didn't really like completely know how to do like the human face, but like it's different.
Yeah.
Like they have like the cheekbones, but they look like they're burnt in and they're like in like the wrong spots. You know, it's an interesting different.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I still wasn't super into it, but I understand it.
Oh yeah, Dane over here has a good point. How she communicated with the boss with like cutting off her hand and like having it shape-shift into a face.
That was cool.
I was kind of into that, to be honest.
That was very cool.
I was like, oh yeah.
There's lots of things that really praise with this season, and that's why the ending frustrates me so fucking much.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of this? What if instead of the Borg, it was just the changelings the entire time, and the twist is that Jack is actually a changeling because the real Jack is dead. And so it's like Picard not only missed out on being a dad because of Dr. Crusher's decision, but like it's now too late and he can't ever get that time back in any way, shape, or form. I don't know what you would do with that. You would need to do something else.
That'd be a big storyline to explore.
I think that I would prefer that more than whatever the heck was going on where like in the back of his brain there was a tiny Borg cube.
Okay, so we gotta break into this. So the aromatic syndrome or whatever the disease he had wasn't actually that. Because apparently the Borg stuck some stuff in his brain in the hopes that eventually he would, apparently the master plan was that he would get de-assimilated and then they'd be able to take that brain matter and put it into a transporter system to assimilate the rest of the fleet, or at least people under 25, which is what they finally do here, their master plan. It's not convoluted at all, guys. This
really,
is,
if you think about it, Picard is everyone's father.
No, so like that's the thing. So before we get to the full Borg thing, episode 7, I feel like if the season ended with episode 7, it's like a really, or episode 8 actually, I think it was.
Yeah, it's literally the last 2 episodes, right?
Yeah. Like, so episode 8 ends with episode 8 because episode 8 I think is also the one where it introduces the conflict between Data and Lore. So they have to reintroduce Data some way. So they have a new android, except it has all the previous androids in it, like Data, Lore before all of them. Right. Now, the big conflict is going to be between Data and Lore because those are the 2 biggest programs in there. And it looks like Lore is just going to destroy Data. And I love how Data is essentially playing chess with them, just like, you know, all I have are my memories. You can't take my memories. And Data's just pulling up all these memories. And Lore's like, oh, I'll take that memory. I'll take that memory. And then eventually Data's like, yeah, you've just been turning into me by taking my memories. And Lore's like, the fuck? And then they have this nice little hug, and then Lore's gone. And it's looking like the whole time Data's just getting disintegrated, and no, Data's just slowly incorporating Lore into him. I thought that was clever and well done. I liked it.
I liked getting to see, I forget what his name is, but I liked getting to see Data's cat again.
Yeah, Spot.
Anytime seeing Data's cat, any day that I see Data's cat is a good day.
Yeah, I think that was the final piece. The final piece wasn't even it was Tasha Yar. It was the cat.
Yeah, it was the cat. Yeah. Like he like gives him the cat. And he's like, oh my goodness, I feel emotional attachment to this cat. And Data is like, I am you.
Yeah, it's because you're me now.
You've fallen under my trap.
It was clever. It was cute, but kind of in the same way that I wish they didn't do the Borg this season. I wish they had just left Data dead, man. Like, I get it.
I get it, but...
And I do want Brett Spiner to get money. I want Brett Spiner to have all the money, but it's just like, you didn't have to.
I get it, but like, I don't know. I think they did an okay job with it. But yeah, part of me is also like, we already killed Data twice. Don't bring him back. But I don't know. I feel like they did a different enough job with him because he's not quite Data. It kind of works for me.
That's fair.
And it's entirely because of delivery, because the concept for me is bad.
Also, in the chat, actual fandom's Dane, right? I do think that's a good point. if the Borg wasn't in season 2, I think it would definitely work better here because
that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do think there's an argument to be made that like if we don't deal with Borg at all throughout Picard, and then they just pop up the last 2 episodes of season 3, still convoluted as hell. I wish they'd fix that, but like, it probably would have gone down a bit better for me. It would be like, okay, I guess we got to do a Borg thing. But yes, that is part of it. They went too hard into the Borg throughout this series that I am just done by the time season 3 ends.
I don't think you understand. He has a Borg cube in the back of his mind, and he does little like cutest stuff. And he's kind of like a Borg, but he's not a Borg, and he doesn't act like a Borg, and he's not Borgy at all. But he's a Borg. You gotta trust me.
Yeah. No, so there's another aspect of this is they started writing season 3 for Picard before they finished writing season 2, or before they finished shooting season 2, one of the two. So that's why they're so different. That's why the Borg are the good guys, and now they're the bad guys. Elnor's alive. No, he's not. Q died. No, he didn't. We'll get to that.
Oh my
the Q thing, I think they explained decently.
Oh, do they? Oh, I completely forgot it, but we'll talk about it. But
I have some.
You have thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Right.
I was thinking to myself, they should have, since we left off in the 2nd season with like a friendly Borg, I think that they should have had him be like, like he still should have had the Borg cube in his mind and the Locutus and stuff like that, but it should have been like funny, friendly Borg.
Oh God. I mean, we can talk about the new Borg Queen, which is
it's fine.
Wild.
Yeah,
it's okay.
I was not super thrilled with it, but I wasn't thrilled with the Borg in this season at all.
It's weird. It's like she looks robotic, but not robotic enough for my taste, but also like not human enough. It's weird. I don't like it. They hit peak with the Borg designs during like the First Contact.
Yeah, I was about to say
like,
First Contact with peak. Yeah,
with the whatchamacallit. They were sort of going for like a similar thing in like the Voyage, in like the Voyager, with like the Borg Queen that was really attached to 7 to 9 for I can't remember why. For probably a reason that was bad, and she would have like her thing where she would do the thing where like her spine was out and stuff like that, but then she would just like jerkily like connect to a body and walk around. I thought that was kind of cool as well.
That was always cool. They did that little trick. Yeah, that little.
She always does that little shoulder roll whenever she gets into the body.
Yeah,
it's pretty sweet.
It isn't really anything, especially because she's supposed to be like, it doesn't even make sense because she's Borg, so she's supposed to be the same as everyone else, which is really a complaint that we could do for every Borg Queen ever. But for this one in particular, like, she can't even do normal Borg stuff. She doesn't have legs.
Yeah, well, I mean, she doesn't even seem to have drones, I think. Like, the only drone she ends up with is Jack.
She's just out here.
Okay. And then, Jack is dealing with this stuff with the red door, and he has to go through it, and it makes him a Borg, essentially. And
I can't remember. Was there, like, they, like, talk about how, like, oh, my mom took me to this, like, observatory or whatever, and there were these flowers there, and, like, the flowers were in, like, the doorway. Did those flowers have any significance whatsoever? Or was that just something that they said?
Yeah.
I think the flowers were just flowers.
Yeah. But yeah,
what's funny about this version of the Borg Queen? If you guys ever play the games Dark Souls, I swear to God, this looks like the final boss for Dark Souls 2. Yeah. Like it's the weirdest thing, man. I'm sure it's just a coincidence, but
I mean, actual fandom Dane, he's bringing up a good point, because like one of the things First Contact did that I thought was very cool was like the Borg Queen and Data have almost like this sexual tension between them that is very well done, and it's creepy, and you can tell it's creepy, but like it's very much there. They do a good job there on First Contact, which, like I said, even though there's good Borg stuff in Voyager, I wish they just ended the Borg with First Contact. I really do, because they just kept on running it to the death. And again, I mean, I think the good point is they still, like, the Borg, how they handle the Borg in season 3 is not well. With the whole, like, chunks of Picard's brain are actually Borg, and they're used to assimilate the fleet, is really clunky and weird, and I do not like it whatsoever. But like having the Borg involved at the end of Picard season 3 could have been okay as long as you don't use them in the rest of the series. You save them.
Yeah.
And instead they just use them wherever they get a chance. And it's very frustrating.
Well, it's also just like they were just the good guys. Now they're the bad guys again. Like again, it's because of the no one was talking to each other as they were writing the seasons. But it's just like, how do you mess that up?
Like, they should have had that beat. They should have had this Borg Queen just be Girardi. Just have her make.
She's had a rough year, guys.
She should just make funny jokes the whole time.
Oh God,
comic relief Borg Queen. I mean, it would be funny. So I would be semi okay with that. Not okay with that, but you know, it would be funny. So I would give it. I'd give it something.
I definitely feel like they like. You say they were starting season 3 writing it before they even finished season 2, and I can definitely kind of tell the writing because so much of season 3, especially the beginning, feels kind of inspired, whereas season 2 feels like they're forcing it. They just got to write stuff out and force it out. So I can see, you can almost feel that. I feel like they did definitely force out the end of season 3 though, but yeah, like I said, I love the concept of the TNG group actually going up against shapeshifters, and this is actually. This season plotline is kind of an evolution of what I want to say. It's the 2-part Deep Space Nine. I want to say it's Homefront and Paradise Lost, where they're dealing with shapeshifters. Yeah, shapeshifter infiltrators on Earth.
Oh yeah,
which I don't think you've seen that, but we will get to it. It's pretty good too. But I like the idea of taking that idea and just expanding it out for a season because there's so much you could do with that. And they do a decent job with it. And like I said, I love the backstory. I love the overacting by Amanda Plummer.
Oh, she's great. She's totally her daughter's dad. It's amazing.
This is 3/4 of a really good season, in my opinion. And and the TNG crew coming back, just playing older versions, I'm on board with. I think they sell it fairly well.
Yeah. And honestly, Gates McFadden, I still thought looked kind of hot. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Like in terms of like, you know, like
definitely more into Marina Sirtis, but
oh, hey, no, dude, no, you're cool, man. No worries.
I definitely, although I will say, I think Beverly's a better character than Troy. But all that aside, it's nice seeing the characters back, and I think they do a good job writing older versions of these characters. It's nice seeing 7 of 9 interact with them.
I love Geordi as a dad. That was fun.
I also Geordi as a dad was awesome.
Did you know one of the not like the main Geordi's daughter that's like around the show, but like the other like daughter that he shows up with? That's like his actual like that's the
that's LeVar Burton's daughter.
Yeah. And she's a professional. Cool. Yeah. And she is a professional cosplayer.
So that is very cool.
So was that the costume that they gave her for the show, or did she just have that and she just showed up with it?
She just walks around with that all day.
Nice.
So so there's a lot to praise here. In fact, I would say there's a lot more to praise here than to bash. Because season 3 I think is overall good.
I think my favorite scene, because we haven't talked about it yet, Jack Crusher in 7 of 9 looking at all the classic ships, and then they get to Voyager. That was a great little moment.
That is true. There is, like, that's actually kind of acceptable little fan service. I like the fan service at the end kind of, I get what they're doing, but it also doesn't work for me. So the Enterprise D ship complement of 1,000 can now be easily flown by 7 people on the bridge, or sometimes 4 people on the bridge.
You see, the thing about this season for me is that I don't think it's like a bad season by any means, but it's like, I mean, it has some slow notes, but like the thing about it for me is that I felt there's obviously there is a lot of fan service in this season, and I felt like because I didn't really grow up watching TNG or anything like that, and so I don't have like that nostalgia aspect that helped me appreciate the fan service, and so I was just sitting here like, oh, they're on a ship together, cool. Worf is funny, but like I couldn't fully appreciate it. I guess that made sense.
I do want to talk about one thing that they did that I actually thought was very well handled. The return of Ro Laren.
Yeah,
that was good. So she pops up and like it's like, oh shit, it's Ro. It's the person who was originally supposed to be Major Kira. of course, the history of women cat actors in Rick Berman is kind of legendary at this point. Because at first I was like, oh, was she just asking for too much money? It's like, no, she was probably asking for a reasonable amount of money, and Rick Berman told her no.
Can I get $10 extra? No,
you're fired. But of course, now we got Major Kira, who's a great character. So,
good. So good.
But anyway, so
also I just want to throw it out there. I loved Picard with Ro because like the first 2 seasons of Picard, he doesn't really feel like Picard. He feels like kind of like an old hippie sometimes. But man, in this season, he's definitely Picard. Like the way he's going after Ro and just other little things, like when he's talking about how Beverly Crusher deprived him of the choice to be a father. Like it feels like Picard again. It's such a nice shift in this characterization.
What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I mean, A, yeah, definitely. B, can I pin yet again?
Yeah.
Yes.
If you want to respond to a comment, just go for it. Actually,
I'm gonna figure out how this works. I'm gonna make it.
Like I said, the easiest way is just to pop it because it's a touchscreen.
So there was a meme about this that my dad showed us recently. Yes, this is you are so correct. Yes, this did happen. Yes.
Yeah.
110% yes.
Brian's working below decks on the Titan now.
That's amazing.
It's like 10,000 people, right?
Yeah.
Got 7 people.
Yeah.
You know who's doing all the other other
Enterprise
work?
D, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's O'Brien.
You didn't know O'Brien was there, but like, yeah.
I mean, he considering the fact that basically in the entirety of Deep Space Nine, he's like constantly working. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's like there is an entire engineering set of people, but they never seem to actually be working. It's always O'Brien.
I mean, remember when he's going to the future and he keeps on passing out because he sees the future and it's causing him to possibly die. And they're like, oh, wow, that seems very traumatic. You should get a nap after you finish your shift.
Yeah, I found that we were watching that recently, and I was like, why is he not on break at home with his family?
I like that idea. Because, so the meme I shared was it was the picture of the entire Deep Space Nine cast, and I said Deep Space Nine running at 100% efficiency, and then all the characters are blacked out except for O'Brien. Then it said Deep Space Nine running at 99.9% efficiency. I talked about this not in the group chat that Lindsay was in. Sorry, Lindsay, but I talked about this with Dad as well. But one of the things that I found funny about that meme was that Quark was in the full cast, and as if he is. Quark is actually negative. Yeah,
like he should be subtracting from the amount of efficiency, from the amount of work that gets done.
So
that's like his entire being.
Yes,
it's who he is as a person.
I guess get back to the Ro thing because I like so the Ro thing ends with her joining the Maquis and like that great moment where Picard's just sitting. And you can tell he's fucking pissed, but he's just not saying anything. He's just listening to the report, and he's just silent. And you like Patrick Stewart selling that scene where he's just, he's fucking pissed that she betrayed him.
Oh yeah.
And then and I like how this episode doesn't shy away from that. It dives into it immediately. And Picard and Ro, when they're by themselves, they get a little fight where Picard's like, kind of like, fuck you, the fuck, like, why are you in the Federation? You are out, like, you betrayed everything we stood for. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Admittedly, I'm not super familiar with TNG.
Yeah,
but from what I have seen of TNG, which is there's some episodes I've seen stuff.
Yeah, I've shown you a lot of the big ones.
I do feel like I did get the vibe that Picard was a little bit angrier, and I got that this season.
Well, I mean, I did explain to you the backstory when she popped up because it's kind of like I haven't shown you any Ro episodes. There's probably like a dozen of them.
And it has Deep Space Nine background.
Yes, it does.
And I'm a Deep Space Nine person.
I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, Ensign Ro was the first Bajoran character introduced into Star Trek.
I'm pretty sure you're right about that. Yeah. Sounds right.
So definitely Deep Space Nine roots with her character, even though she was never on the series. I love her getting back and like her role.
It's the same actress,
where, like,
right?
Oh yeah, it's Michelle Forbes coming back, and she pretty much earns Picard's trust back and gets an honorable death. Which honestly, it was always assumed she died in the Maquis when the Dominion joined the Cardassians. But hey, it was nice to give her an actual proper send off, and it was nice to actually mend the relationship between her and Picard. And I think they do a good job with that. Like I said, 75% of Picard season 3. I am on board with. I think they do pretty good with this one. And most of my complaints are the last 2 episodes where it's like, well, I guess we haven't talked about Shaw in 7, which
I do like Shaw.
I do too. Like, he's a dick and he frustrates me, but I kind of like him too. Like, he's just kind of frustrating. But like,
he's like the perfect kind of like officer. Like he's a total dick, like you said, but like he's right. I don't think he's ever technically wrong. Does he ever say anything that's like out of line, like just contrary to what Picard wants?
Well, I mean, I kind of explained to Ashleen that like the way when he popped up, I think I called him Jellicoe 2.0 or something like that. Which is
I had like an instinctual reaction where I went, "Oh my goodness, my based jelly company."
Where it's kind of like the similar thing. I think Shaw is actually better than Jellicoe overall as a captain. Although that actually brings up another interesting point, because I think there's a abandoned storyline here, which would have been interesting, but like I don't know where they would have explored it. Because Riker has some stuff he does throughout this season that feels kind of sus. And the explanation for it was that he was dealing with the death of his son, which happens before season 1.
You know, we could have had a good parallel with this with Jack and.
Well, they do. They don't really explore that as well as they could have, but they do have that a bit.
They should have done that, though. I would have been into that.
I personally feel like what they were actually leading into, because like there's that scene where Riker does like what Picard recommends, and then like it blows up in their face, and then he's blaming Picard for it. And like there's lots of these moments where Riker's acting kind of uncharacteristic. And I suspect that the original plan was to have Riker be a changeling.
That makes so much sense, actually.
Because, and I think they rewrote it later because it's like, let's have Riker in for a substantial amount. So they had to rework it in a bit more.
Yeah.
And explain that it was the son's death, that why he was acting weird. But I really get the sense that was probably planned.
Wait, no, Bob, I really think you're onto something here. Because like later in the season, he's being held hostage by the changelings, so that would kind of organically lead into that. And I don't want to call Riker a coward when he takes control over the ship in this season, but he's kind of a coward when Riker is a badass, man. I'm not saying he charges blindly, guns blazing into the situation, but he doesn't always run, and the fact that he was always running did feel weird to me. Oh dude, Bob, that's sick, actually.
I really suspect that watching this season, that like when they were writing it, it's like, okay, Riker's going to be a changeling. That's going to be a big twist revealed throughout the season. And then they changed ideas mid-course. And that would have been interesting. Like, imagine, like, cool. They kind of played it almost like Deep Space Nine. Like, maybe Deanna's introduced a bit earlier, and then she gets captured, and then she's thrown into a cell with Riker, who was just on the Titan. And it's like, holy shit.
Why are we so much better writers than the people that work on Picard? This is insane.
I do enjoy whenever we're like talking about like Star Trek on here, and then we go, but this episode could have been so good if it was like this, and then we just like seamlessly describe.
I mean,
like...
I hate to say it, but I was kind of ripping off Deep Space Nine with that, because that's where Worf and Garrick are getting captured by the Dominion, thrown in prison, and all of a sudden Bashir's thrown in there. It's like, you were on Deep Space Nine, bro. What the hell? It's like, no, I've been here for months, man. What are you talking about?
I would call that the good kind of callback, though, where it's like it's kind of organically injected into the storyline. Unless you're like a really diehard DS9 fan, you're probably not going to, like connect those dots right away.
Yeah,
man, that could have been so cool. Like, I also just love the changelings. Like, they're such an underused species in Star Trek. I know they were the bad guys for an entire series, and so underused is kind of an odd way to describe them. But it feels like they should have come back again.
Well, I will tell you, like the Borg, like that's the thing. So the Dominion versus the Borg. The Borg are obviously more of a threat, in my opinion.
Right.
But I always get more concerned with the Dominion, and it's not. And part of the problem is because the Borg are such a threat that they pretty much have to lose every time, because otherwise, if they win, the entire Federation's over and the series has nothing. The reason why Dominion, to me, frequently feels like more of a threat is because Dominion has quite a few W's under their belt. There's quite a few episodes where Deep Space Nine has to go up against Dominion, and they fucking lose.
The problem, though, is that if the Borg wins, then, like, the series is over.
Yeah, exactly. You can hand the Dominion a couple of W's and actually have some impact to the series. The Borg can't get W's. which is why even though Dominion gets way more screen time than the Borg did, I think cumulative, even with the new seasons, Dominion gets way more screen time. Dominion still feels like a threat. You can still call back to the shapeshifters and be like, "Oh, shapeshifters," because like they're cool, you know, and they occasionally get fucking W's and they're badass. I think that's why I'm not like, if we're just judging screen time, I should be way more burnt out on the Dominion than I am on the Borg, but I'm not. I would be down for more Dominion stuff.
Yeah,
I'm done with Borg. Please, no more Borg.
Also, like when done right, who doesn't love the classic doppelganger test? You know,
yes,
like,
yes, yeah.
Like give me a Star Trek like The Thing episode where it's like,
oh, that'd be cool. I don't think I've shown you the Thing. I'm thinking John Carpenter's The Thing, the remake, but yeah, it's
like
good.
the 80s one.
Very good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
The 50s one is fun too, but it's a little dated. But it's
dated,
still fun.
and you don't have the shapeshifter stuff. It's kind of it's interesting. It's good.
I'd argue there's just a lot more potential for having like the Dominion show up really consistently. Because the thing with the Borg is that it's like, you know, one mind all, you know, put together, and they've got, and I mean, I was talking about this with Dad the other day. But that's it is sort of similar to, I was thinking it was sort of similar to the Great Link. But the thing about the Dominion in general though is that like it's just a bunch of assholes, you know, for the most part. And it's so much easier to like, because like they can lose and they can win, and it doesn't have like these like big overarching, I mean it does have overarching effects, but not to the extent that the Borg would have. Yeah. And so like the Borg are cool, but bringing them back a bunch of times, it weakens them.
I guess, you know, so in a way it doesn't for
the Dominion.
With the idea of like someone could be someone else. Like we were talking about Homefront a second ago. There's that classic scene where like the changeling O'Brien says to Sisko, "How many changelings do you think are on Earth right now?" 2 or 3. I can't remember the exact number, but it's like it's tiny. And they're doing so much damage despite there being less than 5 of them. That's not, and that probably includes Odo. Because Odo was on Earth.
It might include Odo, because Odo was there to help try to suss him out.
Which is even more hilarious.
I was the thing actually. We were just watching a Deep Space Nine episode, the one where like where Garrick tortures Odo and stuff like that. We've talked about it on stream before, but then like you find out that I forget his name. What's his face? The Romulan dude is like, you know, a changeling at the end. Yeah. And it's sort of
Kovac or something. I don't know.
You know, and I sort of it reminds me a bit of that in part because I just watched this episode. And also because like, you know, it backs up, I feel like what you're saying, Lindsay. One person's not the right guy. We're all screwed. You're all screwed. It's over. It's over.
I mean, and I do feel like originally they wanted it to be one of the classic members because that would have been a huge twist. And I feel like it was set up for Riker, and it would explain why, like, you know, there's that moment where Riker yells at Picard because Riker took Picard's advice and it went poorly. And it felt so out of character because it's like, Riker, you've been a captain. You know, he's giving you advice. You could tell him to shove it up his ass. You decide to follow it, and now you're upset because you followed his advice. You're a captain. You know better. You can't. You gotta resolve this, not just get bitchy with him.
You see, he would take responsibility for his own actions.
Yeah.
If those were his own actions.
Yeah. But yeah, they obviously wrote that out. And that's one of the things. I do feel like doing this, it would have been more impactful to have a major character be a shapeshifter. Maybe it's Riker, maybe it's Jack. But yeah, do a
maybe
twist
it's been
like
Picard the entire series.
Entire series.
What if it's like it's actually the Borg Queen? She was doing like a big. She changed it into the entire Borg cube. It was a big April Fool's joke. She was doing a funny. It's Jurati, but it's also a shapeshifter. A shapeshifter Jurati doing funny. And trolling everyone in massively horrific ways.
So we got Wynn Grace and McLeod also bringing up Moriarty here. What are our thoughts of that cameo?
Weird. I mean, it's kind of cute, but it's
kinda,
weird.
It's kind of weird. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I haven't shown.
I didn't
Moriarty
really have the
episodes.
background for Moriarty, but like I have read an amount of Sherlock Holmes, and so I was like, why is there just a Sherlock Holmes guy here? What is happening?
Well, that's the thing. So like Moriarty's like the main villain in what? It's only like
a few
episodes of TNG.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the original one, and then there's the one where he comes back and Barclay's there. It's like Daniel Davis is fantastic, and like he puts on like the perfect British accent because like he I think his original accent you can hear in Hunt for Red October. He almost never uses it because he's become known for his fake British accent. So, yeah, it's really cool to have him back. And then he popped up, and I was like, oh, so on Daystrom we're going to have some sort of Moriarty mystery they have to solve. This could be kind of cool. But it's like the simplest mystery ever that Riker's able to solve because he's a sax player. By the way, I like the reference that he's a sax player and he's able to identify these notes. That's cool. That's a fun way to handle that.
What's the moment where there's there's like the loud sound and Riker's and someone's like, "What's that?" And Riker's like, "F sharp, I think."
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it's cool to play with it, but like he's a cameo and he's barely there, and it's like I like bringing him back, but it wasn't necessary at all. Like that was pure fan service right there that he even was in this series at all. For like might have been 2 episodes, but like he's teased at the end of one episode and then he's in like 1 or 2 scenes. The next one it's done. So I guess
I think you're right.
I have mixed feelings. I don't have strong feelings towards it whatsoever. He's there.
I mean, I guess I'd like to. For a moment, I'd like to be just a little bit finicky and picky and weird because I play a musical instrument. And I would just like to say, for the representation, for all musical instrument people out there, just because we play a musical instrument does not mean we know what that note is. That is a completely separate thing, okay? I cannot spot what the note is, and that is not my fault.
Riker's just better than you, Ashley.
Riker has perfect pitch. It's very uncommon. Most people don't have that.
But yeah. Overall, my thoughts of Picard season 3 are overall good until the ending. Overall good. They kind of shit the bed in the ending with the Borg. But like overall, I'm okay with this season. And if the rest of this series was like this, it would have been a huge improvement. But it's not. And that's why I will still maintain, even with a solid season 3, I still think Star Trek Picard is the worst Star Trek series ever.
It's kind of hard to bounce back from just the pit that is season 2.
Yeah,
like I don't want to be too mean to the people that are involved with it because I think it's very obvious whose fault it is. But like season 2 is just like a train wreck's not even a right word, man, because it's so bad. Like you do kind of want to stop watching after a while.
Yeah,
like we were supposed to do this a month ago, I think. Oh no, sorry.
I was trying to get us through like as many episodes as possible so we could do the stream earlier. But like we finished season 2, and I was like, we need a break before season 3.
Yeah, honestly,
we cannot dive right in.
It would be like
God! Oh my!
Every night, my father would be like, "Hey, do you want to watch like insert whatever thing, or do you want to watch Picard?" And like always, without a fail, I was like, "I do not want to watch Picard, Father." Why would you ever assume that I would want to watch Picard?
We need to watch Picard. I don't want to watch Picard.
Especially because there were times as well, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to watch Picard or Deep Space Nine?" I want to watch Deep Space Nine. I would far prefer to watch Deep Space Nine. How is this even a question? We should put on Deep Space Nine.
But yeah, that's the interesting thing. So, like, even though I would say TNG season 1, and that's I guess this is what Picard would need to recover from season 2, because TNG season 1 was awful, worse than anything Picard season. Any Picard season, but like it has 6 seasons after that to get better, and season 2 is not flawless, but it's got a couple of classic episodes. Measure of a Man is season 2, and it is a vast improvement over season 1.
That's crazy. And that's season 2 actually.
Yeah, and then you get like then like you have like 5 seasons after that are substantially fucking better. Picard almost needs that to recover, because I would just say TNG is one of my favorites. Like for me, it's close second. TNG and Deep Space Nine for my favorite Star Trek series. DS9 is number 1, of course, but like TNG's such a close second. And honestly, what holds it back is that season 1. Deep Space Nine season 1's a little clunky, but it's miles better than TNG season 1. It's not even fucking close. Like Deep Space Nine season 1, it kind of has an idea what it's doing. It's mostly doing it. Yeah, there's a couple of goofy episodes, but I will take those goofy episodes over the bad episodes of TNG season 1 in a fucking heartbeat.
Oh yeah. No, I'll take Move Along Home over Code of Honor.
Yeah, I was trying to think of it. It was like Alan Moraine moved through. I don't remember what the rhyme is, but I was going to say that I will take that all day over Code of Honor. Question.
Move Along Home is a beautiful piece of art.
Yes.
Move Along Home. It's the only sports themed episode that I will ever enjoy.
Hey. Well, no.
Wait, no, that's the other one. Never mind. You know what?
Take me to Hollow Suite's fucking classic.
Hollow Suite is awesome. I do remember what you're talking about. You know what? It's game themed.
Yeah, it's
sports
better.
are games, and you know what? I would watch that over the other one.
I will take
like kind of interesting.
I will take O'Brien dealing with Rumpelstiltskin and Bashir dealing with horny Dax and all that before I deal with a lot of the crappy stuff from TNG season 1 and frankly the crappy stuff from Picard season 2.
I forgot about the Rumpelstiltskin episode, but I'll still take that over Code of Honor.
Classic Deep Space Nine season 1 cheese.
Yeah. So but like I said, TNG season 1, it's got 6 seasons to recover. Picard season 2 only had 1 season to recover, and even that wasn't brilliant. It was just a vast improvement. So, yeah. Anything you guys want to say in conclusion?
Do you feel like they're trying to? Because like the end of season 3, Q's back and he's doing Q things. Do you think they're trying to do like a continuation, like a Jack Crusher show or something like that, or did they want to?
Star Trek Legacy.
Ooh.
John Delancey talked about this at Cincinnati Comic Expo.
Oh,
it was during the strike. He gave a big old, like he was asked about, and he's like, "Okay, I can't answer that directly. There's a strike going on." And they gave a fantastic speech, talk about the importance of the strike and how they're turning acting into a hobby. Nobody can make money. There's very few people who can possibly make a living off this. The strike is necessary and it needs to happen. And the implication was very strong. Star Trek Legacy is not happening. It is a victim of the strike.
Wow. Okay.
And there's lots of victims of the strike, but it's like, I get it because they gave a huge impassioned speech about the importance of this strike. The strike is a necessity. It needs to happen. It is important. It's important to support the actors because this is rough. I think he said something 100%. like to qualify for health insurance through the union, you have to make $24,000 or something like that. And this is living in California, $24,000 acting. It's not a lot. And he said something like 87.5% of actors don't qualify. And it's like, that is unacceptable.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's
it was super based. Yeah, it was awesome.
No, dude's dope as hell. And the thing definitely did need to happen, if nothing else, just because of all this AI stuff going on right now. And
the AI stuff.
Is the voice actor thing with video games, is that still going? I should know this.
I believe that's still striking.
But it's still going on. Yeah,
I believe that hasn't been going on that long. But I saw this great meme, and I think it really encompasses the issues of AI, because I actually think AI could be a wonderful tool. But the fact is, AI was supposed to be developed so that menial jobs could do menial jobs, and I could focus on my art. Instead, AI is being developed to do art, so I can do menial shit.
Exactly.
This is the problem.
And then the AI art isn't even good. It's soulless.
Listen, I refuse to call it AI art because it's not art. Art comes from a person.
Yeah.
That's just one of my things.
And everything that they've put on that page has been stripped from people.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's the thing. AI just learns from other people. So this is becoming an anti-AI stream. But listen, AI can be a fantastic tool. It really can be. It could make all our lives fucking better.
Yeah.
It absolutely fucking could.
Look at Star Trek.
But not by making fucking shitty fucking pictures from prompts. Right. Not by all the shit we've been using it for. It's very frustrating.
Here's my litmus test for AI. Until it can do hands and have people sitting in a room talking to each other, it's useless for anything other than like a brainstorming tool. That's at least kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, brainstorming. Yeah. Some basic editing. Like, I don't really care. Honestly, I'm even okay with AI art if it's used for maybe like somebody who can't draw as like a proof of concept or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, it's not actual art in my opinion. It's just kind of it's garbage.
It's the new Furbies. It's the new NFTs. People not Furbies, Beanie Babies. That's what I meant to say. Like people,
dude, even Beanie Babies, I would argue, have some sort of collectible values. There's always stuff like that. Comic books was like that when I was a kid.
Yeah,
there's always stuff like that.
I have a collection of Beanie Babies.
Okay, fair.
I
didn't mean to besmirch.
On the same token, fuck NFTs. Those things are garbage.
Oh, so bad. So they're the worst.
Yeah. I know, actually, completely off track from Star Trek. I almost said Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine is Star Trek, but not all Star Trek is Deep Space Nine.
But it would be better if it was.
I was about to say, it would be cool though. But I was actually, because we were doing like the video game stuff, and I was looking up, and I looked up Monica, and I saw someone had made a video like Monica versus Monica AI character AI, and I'm like, listen. First of all, Monica was always AI. Second of all, game Monica would destroy anything that character AI has to make because character AI is soulless. Character AI has nothing. Monica is an actual character.
Yeah.
Character AI is like some sort of like AI Monica is like some sort of like butchered, like torn to pieces thing based off of like people on the internet that didn't understand what her deal was.
Yeah. So when Grace has a fantastic point, Star Trek sold Starship NFTs, which I believe Paramount would do shit like that. That tanked horribly, which they should. Like, I can't think of anything that's more anti-Star Trek than NFTs. I mean, Star Trek is pretty anti-capitalist. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
You don't get much more anti-capitalist in Star Trek. There's no money. It doesn't exist.
Yeah, there's literally no money in Star Trek.
Unless you're Ferengi, but we don't need
if like the big if the big epic like plot twist at the end was actually that like the Ferengis were like buying people off, and we had to like fight against like capitalism or whatever, and they were gonna like, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean they'd have to work it in, but I do think.
But yeah,
Picard fights capitalism.
So I guess just to wrap it all up, despite a overall decent season 3 with a bad ending, Picard is still the worst Star Trek season, worse than Enterprise, which to me that was the previous record holder. And I think Voyager has issues as well. Discovery I think really improved after season 1, and then Lower Decks and Strange New Worlds have just been pretty good, frankly, overall. I haven't seen Prodigy yet, which I do need to watch at some point. I've only heard really good things about it.
Yeah, I've heard too.
I know it's on Netflix now, which is evil. I thought Star Trek was supposed to be on Paramount. Just fucking but yeah. Yeah, I guess that's it. Star Trek Picard. A cool idea for a sequel series that's really disappointing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's the interesting thing. So we have Picard, which is semi-follow-up to TNG, and I guess Prodigy is a semi-follow-up to Voyager. And now I'm like, okay, where's our Deep Space Nine follow-up, guys? I'm waiting.
Can they do it without Nog, though? That's the question. Or oh no, they're both dead now.
Well, that's the thing. So, like, I feel like Odo's story is completely told.
That's true.
And I guess little spoiler because you haven't seen it, but there's that documentary where they're putting together season 8. And do you remember what they write? The very first thing that happens, almost.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, that could work.
Yeah, that documentary is so good. I've watched it twice. What's it called? What We Leave Behind.
Yeah. So very early, there are ideas for very early season 8 was to set up real stakes and to kill off a major character. So they kill off Nog very early in the season premiere.
Oh, L for Nog.
And actually considering, like, Aaron Eisenberg was still alive when they wrote that, but like considering what has happened since then, it's like I would forgive it because it's like, yeah, that would give it real impact, and also like we'll retire the character of Aaron Eisenberg because he was fantastic. And yeah, I saw a meme recently talking about how Nog is the most developed character in all of Star Trek history, and I'm like, I can't argue against that. Like, holy shit.
He kind of is, yeah.
DS9 guy, yeah, like so much of an arc. It's so good too. But yeah, we will do this again at some point. Hopefully, something easier to get through than Star Trek Picard. I don't. Whose turn is it to come up with it? Because this torture excursion was my idea, so it's not me.
I can't remember whose turn it was.
What was the last one? Was last one 7?
Because it wasn't my idea to do 7.
Yeah, I think 7 was Lindsay.
We did something after 7 that was like a quick one.
Yeah, we did the Borg episode ranking because it seemed like a good bridge.
That wasn't my idea either.
So
okay,
we
actually, it's on you.
Well, the other bridge I was thinking would be time travel episodes because that was something that was also brought up as a kind of a bridge, and Ashley liked that idea.
I wanted to do the time travel episodes, but it was like the thing is that I put my Discord notifications on silent, and so I'll be like I'll come back in which is why I'm never present during conversations. It's because I'll see that I have notifications 6 hours later, and I'm like, dang, I could have said something cool, but it's too late now.
Well, let's for the next one we'll figure out time travel episodes. How's that sound?
I'm down. Time travel. That sounds great, actually. I'm super down for that.
There are some great Star Trek time travel. There's some crapshoots too, and maybe we'll include Picard season 2 just to definitely have something put in D rank.
As I've said earlier, I have a very I have a strong conviction that time travel should not be particularly easy.
No,
I am particularly.
But there's lots of really good
screw with the timeline. It's not.
I mean,
or if you can do that, you have to make a point about it somehow.
I mean, also I guess it's good to announce it now. We'll do a time travel tier ranking, and then we'll figure out what the next big episode is. We'll figure that out for Discord. So it sounds like it's probably Ashley's pick.
Time travel either needs to be really difficult to do, or it needs to tear apart your soul when you do it.
So Ashley, think of a topic you'd like to discuss for the big one. We don't have to do it now, but it'll be your turn because I'm pretty sure the last big one was 709, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So that bring it to Lindsay. Low Watermark, thank you very much for the 10 gifted subscriptions. Awesome.
Oh shit.
Awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, he just comes in and gives subscriptions. I love it. It helps out a lot. Before then, probably in a month, we'll try to do a time travel storyline tier ranking.
Nice.
Because we can do Time Zero. We got Future's End, the one where Tom Paris hooks up with Sarah Silverman. That would be fun. There's lots of cool time travel ones.
So one question, just does time loops count as time travel? Like the one where Kelsey Grammer shows up at the end? You know what I mean?
There's also that season 2 one where they're going all around over and over again. Is that the same one?
Maybe?
Is it?
I know Voyager and TNG both
Kelsey
have time
Grammer
loops.
Well,
isn't that the time loop episode? We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
I personally would definitely consider time loop episodes to be time travel episodes. It's under the same genre.
Let's see how many there are and see how much we want to include. Yeah.
Time loops, when done particularly well, I think are great because you're basically just destroying someone from the inside out.
Yeah. But we'll definitely include anything when they try and travel. And announcing it now, the second day into the Bell Riots, I think is a good time.
Is today day 2 of the Bell Riots? Woo!
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think it was. I don't remember if it started on August 30th or if maybe Cisco was just. I think maybe he was looking at the calendar and it said August 30th, and he said, I think maybe it starts September 1st, so maybe it starts tomorrow. But I think he was looking at the calendar and saying, "Oh, the Bell Riots start soon."
Well, you know what they say. Good job, Cisco. Except not Cisco. Good job, Gabriel Bell.
Yeah. So I guess if you're curious what to cover, the couple I'll come up off the top of my head, we'll definitely do Voyage Home and First Contact as movies, time travel. Probably would have to do 2009 as well. Yeah. That's a big time travel one. And then of course you got Past Tense, you got Yesterday's Enterprise. Where are the other big ones? Time Zero, Future's End, that's the Voyager one. And then we'll go ahead and include Picard season 2. Not to say where we're gonna rank it.
Just to
probably on the low side. Yeah. Probably on the low side, but hey. Actually, the Harry Kim dying, I don't think is a time travel thing. I think that's a different one. Or does he die in a different time travel episode? He might die multiple times in that series.
He dies a few times.
Yeah, he doesn't do well. But he's still an ensign. There's that. I guess we can wrap up on this. There's that classic meme where Janeway looks at Harry Kim and she says, I've decided I'm going to change your surname. It's not Kim anymore? No. Your surname is now Forever. I'm Ensign Forever. And Janeway just grins.
That's amazing.
But yeah, always good talking to you guys. Always good to geek out over Star Trek, even though this series kind of weak. You know, I don't even know if I'd say this series, if I really hate this series, I kind of hate season 2. But like season 1's good ideas, poorly executed. Season 2 is actually good ideas, really, 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 really poorly executed. And then season 3 is mostly good ideas. And then I mess up at the end. So yeah. Lindsay, you got anything up on your channel you want to promote?
Nothing at the moment that's going to be coming out, but I have been putting out a lot more content lately and really just trying to have fun and making things again. I got that Acolyte video that I'll probably get out soonish. I keep rewriting the script.
Cool.
It's a horrible cycle of the script is great, the script sucks. The script is great, the script sucks. But we're getting there.
Like, but I mean, the Acolyte, just to interrupt you real fast, it's like overall I thought it was good. I thought episode 3 was actually pretty bad, but like overall it's like it's okay.
It's a mixed bag, horrible pacing. But I wanted more.
Pacing gets really choppy.
The Stranger Chimere, whatever his name was, dope villain. I loved him.
Yeah, dude, he was great. Yeah,
right. And what's his name from Squid Games? Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, dude, I didn't even recognize him. Well, it was both Chimere, who's the dude who plays the dumb character in Good Place, and then the dude
I need to
from
see
Squid
Good Place.
Games.
I've never seen Good Place.
Yeah, I was like, wait, that is the same actor. I recognize the face. Oh my god, they are so good. They are completely transformed to these other roles. It's amazing,
right? I don't know. There's a lot going on, and but other than that, dumb YouTube shorts are the other thing I'm doing lately. I just come up with a stupid idea and I just throw it together. So I got stuff coming.
Fun. Awesome. And then I got streams coming. We'll probably do some sort of Chillcast Initiative stream on Wednesday. Oh yeah, I got a podcast tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Monday. We'll do the podcast a little bit early. We're going to do it at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to be discussing the first 3 episodes of Rings of Power, Abigail, the horror movie that came out a couple of months ago, kind of leading up to Horror Hound, because that's going to have a whole bunch of the Abigail cast there, and we'll see the round table of them. And then what's the other thing we're covering? Oh, the end of Superman and Lois season 3. So we got a few things to cover on the podcast. That'll be Monday. And then I got my regular stream on Thursday. We'll probably go over some chuds and comic books. You guys got a comic book poll up right now for what Marvel book I'm covering. And then and I want to say tomorrow we'll be doing what non-Marvel DC book, and you guys get to choose that one. And then I get to choose a DC and then whatever I want. But yeah, thanks guys for watching. Like and subscribe. I need to say that a lot more during live stream.
Yeah.
And this guy, well, I mean, this guy's awesome too. But this guy has a channel called My 2 Cents of Nonsense. Go over there, like and subscribe. He's got great stuff. If you're looking for some killer shark content, he's got it. You know
what the sad thing is? There's an anime that just came out that's like an anime King Shark. So it's like I have to. I think I have to. I think I'm obligated.
You just have to do all the King Shark stuff now. You're the King Shark guy.
Also, if you watch through all of this video, that means that if I ever make a YouTube channel, you are legally obligated to subscribe to it.
Yes,
that's the law. It's the law. There's nothing we can do about it.
You can't argue against that.
Also,
we don't make the rules.
I'm glad that you had a lot of fun Lucifer riding.
Listen, man, Star Trek Picard kind of sucks, but like it is kind of fun to rag on it a bit.
I guarantee you that like it will always be like even if we were like 5,000 times less funny, I guarantee you that still just watching like a couple of people talk about Star Trek Picard way more fun than watching it.
All right. Well, I guess I will wrap this up with the most iconic scene in Star Trek Picard once again.
God.
Yes.
And everyone have a good one.
I want you to remove an obstacle, Renee. Picard.
Beep, beep. I don't suppose you want to catch a ride to Europa. Feel like you could hang in the cockpit, Keep everyone calm.
Perhaps another time.
Beep, beep.